Greetings and aloha, what's going on? It's Mike's from livemyassoff.com. I'm currently at this really, really cool coffee shop. And I'm on their Wi-Fi, so I'm not completely sure how good the signal is. I did a speed test. It was like 50 down, 50 up. I'm gonna check here on my laptop. I'm on the gimbal, so I'm actually gonna walk around and I'm gonna show you this place. I'll wait for a couple of you to join in here. This is absolutely a impromptu thing. I had no intention of going live today, actually. Patrick, you're the first. You're the hostess with the mostest. Burp, burp. What's going on, buddy? Glad you're here. My name's Mike. RL, yo, good to see you, my friend. And what I'm doing is I'm logging in on my laptop because I want to see if the signal, when I look at the signal, numero dos RL, when I look at the signal here, there's a little bit of jitter in my body movement. And so I don't anticipate this will be epic. But considering my last two live streams have basically just stopped without me wanting them to, how bad could it be, right? Anyway. There we go. So I'm at this coffee shop, and it was one of those deals where I just opened up Google Maps this morning and I typed in coffee shop. And, you know, if you do that in any major city, for the most part, it's like, you know, all these little red dots. And this one that was like fairly close was called Nami Coffee, right? And basically it was just like this little sort of hut that someone had put on the sidewalk. And again, like I've always said, the best food in the entire world is made on the sidewalk in Thailand. But so I walked down to that place and I said, okay, give me a mocha. And they gave me this, I think it was like a 6-ounce coffee cup with about 4 ounces of coffee in it. Technical question before anyone shows up. Do you know an app on Android for vlogging to be able to flip from front to back camera? I have an S8 Plus and it won't flip. So, okay, RL, well, so here's the thing. Like, I'm on the YouTube app right now, and if I go like this and I push the thing in the lower left, then it switches from front to back. And if you are meaning, so that's, again, to your point. Good morning, Stuck. Good to see you, buddy. For vlogging, so I mean, technically I'm vlogging right now. If you mean to just record it and then upload a video, well, I mean, the default camera app will allow you to switch the cameras. So if I'm not understanding you correctly, I apologize. Don't forget to hit the like button, everybody. Look at this guy. How you doing, buddy? Dude, how do I super chat you? How do I actually, what should it be called? Super cool. It should be called super cool. I was filming with the phone's camera and it doesn't, well, oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So, yes, I know what you mean. So, okay, there are, the majority of them will only, you know, you have to stop the record and then, like, you know, flip it and then start it again. So I get that. Thank you for the 3 likes. Patrick says to Suck, I always see you in the live streams, you're a champ. He's a total champ. I mean, look at him. The guy's got like 9 thumbs up, basically. He like defaults to like epic thumbs up. Now, if I don't make noise, then it's kind of like I'm in a library, okay, with like really soft jazz music playing. So what I've done is I've come to what I believe is the furthest away table, and I'm talking away from the restaurant behind me. And maybe do the manual flip. Yeah, so, but here's the thing. There are absolutely apps. If you mean just like recording it, then that would probably be a pretty easy app. As far as all of these ones that we use for live streaming, then again, they allow us to do it on the fly. Sometimes there's a button like this one for the YouTube one, and then other times you basically just like double tap and it goes the other way. So for example, like if I'm on WhatsApp or I'm on WeChat or I'm online and I'm like having a conversation with somebody, like a Skype thing, and I double tap the picture, then it goes the other way. So what am I grateful for today? How much time you got, Sport Shoes? I'm grateful for being where I am. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Well, okay, look, you guys know me well enough. I'm not gonna, the first thing I am grateful for when I wake up in the morning is that I got to wake up this morning versus coming to and I'm sober. And like, dude, guys, like once I have that baseline, it's friggin' gravy after that. I mean, like the fact that I get to do that, I wake up clear-headed. Earl, good to see you, buddy. Stuck says, Patrick, thanks, Patrick. This is my entertainment, and I live alone, so lots of time in my hands. Yeah, well, I live alone too, right? I mean, I have a very loving, caring, monogamous relationship with Gracie via WhatsApp right now, obviously. But anyway, oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to change the livemyassoff.live to go to this URL. So hold on, let me do that just for a second. Only because there's a friend of mine who I haven't talked to in forever, and she used to live in the same town I did. Her name is Lori. And if Gracie's watching this, she'll remember Lori. So Gracie, Lori sent me a message this morning, and she said hi to you and me. And then she said something like, oh my God, I can still hear your voice. I'm like, right, because I'm talking. Now you are gonna hear some cars in the background, or motorbikes really. I'm on Udom Suk 19, and which simply means I'm in like an alley, basically, or a soy, that basically connects the Udom Suk with Sukhumvit 101/1. And so a lot of times what they'll do is they'll name these alleys, starting one at the main street. So everything sort of starts at Sukhumvit, and then like the first alley will be Udom Suk 1, Udom Suk 2, Udom Suk 3 as you go down Udom Suk. Now on the other end of it, it's also Udom Suk 19, but that's not the bigger street. The bigger street is Udom Suk. So anyway, the point to my doing this video is twofold. One, to check in with you guys. Two, to show you this place. And three, to, remain sane. The other thing I'm grateful for is the ability to walk here. So, you guys have definitely seen someone of lack of physical mobility. And if you're anything like me, and you probably are a little bit, otherwise you wouldn't be here, at least for me, it humbles me, and I feel powerless because there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't just like throw some magic fairy dust on this person and all of a sudden they don't have to sit in a wheelchair anymore. So, I see that as I walk down the street, and it's heartbreaking when there isn't massive unemployment because of COVID. And so now it's even more sort of real. And because, I mean, look, when a lot of people are working and you're disabled and you're sitting on the side of the street begging for money, then at least the people that walk by you effectively have disposable income, right? And they can give you some cash. And now it's, it's like, the other people, I'm sure, not obviously, this isn't the direct translation in Thai of what they're thinking, but I'm quite certain there's a part of them that's like, look, dude, I got my own problems kind of thing. And that's another thing I'm grateful for is problems. My glasses, when I put my glasses on, and one could argue that they are rose-colored. When I put my glasses on, I have zero problems today. Zero problems today. I have opportunities up the yin, and I was thinking about that the other day, and as well as this morning, actually, because I was corresponding with one of you guys via email, and this happens, and this isn't just you, the one person. This is probably about 20 of you now, since I gave out the livemyassoff.com/calendar, which, by the way, I opened up a bunch of appointments in the rest of June and July. Greetings from Australia, Damo. Good to see you, man. That was so cool that you were on. You really were interacting yesterday in the chat. I really want to thank you for that. That's really cool. Patrick says to Stuck, same here, just living alone. I cut the cable and just watch YouTube. It's one of the many, many things that I have done in my life over the course of the last 6 years. 6 years ago, or actually almost 7 now, I moved to that one-bedroom house in what I refer to as my Mike's mini Maui mansion, because it was in a lot of greenery, and it was the thing with the pool out front, right? So anyway, MedTech says, I feel sorry for people that are immobile through accident or disease. I don't feel sorry for the greater number that simply don't take care of themselves. So I totally get that. I mean, I understand what you mean. Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you, Captain Photon. That's awesome, man. You're like 2 days in a row. I love when like the core team like basically starts growing, right? And so that's really cool. Additionally, selfishly, I love the fact that you guys like talk to each other, you know, in the chat, because then of course I can wax philosophically about the size of my hat for the next hour and a half, and you guys are like, don't worry about it. It's just background noise. He's just moving his lips. He's making noise. He'll do this all day long. Don't sweat it. Oh, the other thing too. Okay, so I'm on my phone, and I can't really plug in the charger right now, but I'm also on my gimbal, and I'm on this place's Wi-Fi. And now that there's like 14 of you, I want to do this. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to cruise outside of the place. Now, there weren't a whole lot of other Wi-Fi options here, so meaning that there's not a whole lot of interference. So I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi is going to be good enough when I like walk another, you know, 30 or 40 meters away from it. And right on, Captain. But I really want to show you this place. Now, first of all, there's a couple ways you could find this very easily, especially to guys like Caesar and that sort of thing that live here in Bangkok, is you could easily just Google coffee Udom Suk, because Udom Suk is like the main street off of Sukhumvit, and then this is like the coffee place. The other way is its proper name, which is in the thumbnail, which is Han Rien, because the woman's first name that is the owner, her first name is Han, and then her partner's name is Turien. So it's Han Rien, and then Choan, C-H-O-E-A-N is the phonetical spelling of it. She told me what that meant, and I think it means welcome, Chon, in Thai. I could be wrong. She actually just walked outside, so I may ask her again. But here's the reason I want to walk outside and I want to show you this, and you'll see in a minute. And if it dumps out, I'm really sorry. But I tell you what, let me do this so you guys can get a better idea of why I think this place is so incredibly cool, why it's neat. So do you guys use that phrase to basically describe places that have like the best food ever that aren't necessarily like a 5-star resort? You like say, you know, hole in the wall kind of thing? And so that's Han over there. And again, I can see the Wi-Fi router from here, so if it skips, it'll skip, but I don't think it'll dump out. But it's like really awesome. And then when Mike restarts after he crashes, we can come back and find the new video. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you guys have a plan in place. But someone thumbed down right at the start. Well, we obviously know who's not hanging out at the cool kids table, don't we? We have no use for them. I really wish they'd let me know why. I mean, you know, obviously they probably just are doing it to do it, so whatever. But I don't really care about that. And like I said before, you know, when I have these apps, the only thing that it tells me is the number of people that are watching concurrently and the number of thumbs up. And so therefore, the metrics that the metrics that YouTube gives me are precisely the ones I want, meaning they only add, it's Rob. Yeah, oh, you know what's funny? So about Rob, so I pinged him yesterday, right? And he actually got back to me last night. He and I are gonna go live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bangkok time. So that's basically noon Australia, 10 p.m. East Coast, and 7 p.m. California. So I'll be updating and putting, okay, so it's starting to rain right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cruise outside, but this place is totally awesome. But the reason I wanna show you this outside part is because if you're anything like me, you've used the phrase, dude, it's this hole-in-the-wall place that has amazing food. Like there is this hole-in-the-wall Mexican place in Coronado that has some of the best Mexican food I've ever had in my life. But it's like, you know, you say, oh yeah, it's a hole-in-the-wall place. Now I'm kind of getting far away from the Wi-Fi router, so I apologize if this goes down. But the reason I wanted to show you this is literally is a hole in a wall. So here's like the wall, and my seat is like actually literally right behind this bush thingy there. Now this is all metal, so I may lose the Wi-Fi here, but at the end of the day, it's like this is the wall, and then sometimes they have this door open, and then this is the hole in the wall, and so you come past this arguably, you know, fairly ugly metal, you know, pieces of metal, and you end up in their parking lot. It is a cool hideout, man. It's like a fort, dude. It's like I have my own fort. Okay, hold on. Let me get out of the silhouette so I can make sure I show you the guy. And here's so here's what's funny, right? Of course, it's Thailand. So anyway, so Ham Rian Chun 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 Chun. She told me how to pronounce the second part because Han is easy to pronounce, and Rien, she said it's just like durian. But anyway, that's her partner's name. Her partner's name is Tu Rien. So it's Ham Rien Chan. Coffee and cozy, and that's exactly how it is on the, but you know, I mean, it's neat, right? Because it's got like that sort of metal, industrial kind of look to it. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that. So the times that it has painted on there, it says that it's open from 7 in the morning until whenever, which of course means that she didn't come on open the place until 7:30 because it's Thailand. And I'm totally okay with that. But anyway, so I came in and I'm like, oh my God, you guys have a drawbridge. I'm totally hanging out with you guys. This is like the only sort of modern thing that's here, you know, that they basically bought at Costco. But anyway, so they have this koi pond. And she says that this place is, this coffee shop has been here 2 years. And she says that she's had these koi fish, and there are some orange ones, believe me. And I just told them that you and I are going live tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And so anyway, she says that she's had some fish in there for over 10 years. And she said they used to be in a thing like this. She said that they weren't this small, but they used to be in there for a while, which is why she said they didn't grow like crazy until she, you know, put them obviously in a bigger place. Hey, Rob, I mean, you're alive. Yeah, Rob is. Yeah, the guy sends me a message this morning at 7:30. I'm like, what? Don't give me this. Oh no, we got to do it at night thing. He's up all the time. But anyway, I just think this place is really great. And I came in and I was just like, oh my God, this is like a total oasis in the middle of giant Bangkok city. And dude, guys, let me tell you something. This is the other awesome part about this is one of just many. And I love how it's like outdoors but has indoor stuff. Like they have this lamp that is basically just like, you know, sitting here. And if you want to plug it in, you plug it in. And so it's kind of like outdoor living indoors. They got this little swing here. And so anyway, guys, I wanted to show you this place because I think it's really awesome. I love places like this. I also even probably love the fact more that it's here in Bangkok, because you could argue that, you know, in a giant city, right? In a giant city, in a land before time, it's like this oasis, basically. So anyway, how you doing? So I wanted to show that to you guys. BKK has lots of cool places. And here was what's amazing about Bangkok, Rob. I mean, how long did you live here before you cruised down to Phuket? It wasn't 2 years, right? But I mean, I don't know about you, dude, but like literally, I don't think in even 2 to 3 years, I could go to all of the little cool places in Bangkok. 6 months, oh my God, okay. I think that's probably because when you first moved here, you started doing videos. And every video I watched of yours felt like it was like 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding. And so anyway, there's so many little like amazing places like this, but there are so many little like neighborhoods sometimes like this. Like there's this in the middle of like, you know, basically a dirt lot. And the only other things around this are like the dirt lot, that's their parking lot, and then they have an additional parking lot across the soy, and I'm going, how busy does this place get? Well, hello, Rob. So anyway, I love stuff like this, and again, I don't know if I would argue, it's probably partially the nuance of it. You know, I mean, again, this is like the first time I've seen one of these. It's not the first time I've seen a really cool coffee shop. I mean, you know, coffee shops like this are all over the place, right? Big fan of coffee. And so I got a vanilla mocha, and it comes with presentation. It comes on the, you know, and it's got like a little bit, you know, of Everclear. No, it's got some water and, you know, in a little cup. And again, this is the This is sort of the initial Starbucks model that they sold, right? In other words, you don't just go there like a Dunkin' Donuts for like, give me a coffee and a donut because I gotta go. You come here for the ambiance, you come here for the socialization and that sort of thing. And what people probably don't come here for is to listen to the beautiful soft jazz music as well as tall, white, bald guy. But anyway, I'm talking towards the parking lot, so I think I'm good. I just really, I'm confident that during this COVID thing, it was not comfortable for her and her partner to be closed. However, this is an example of one of the places that, like right when COVID sort of started and you were kind of wearing masks, around March maybe, I came here, like it was on like a Saturday, it was either a Saturday or a Sunday. And I came here and I was going to meet a buddy of mine. I said, hey, dude, and he like lives, maybe like 3 blocks over. And I said, hey, meet me at this one place. I've never been here before. Here it is on the map. Come and meet me here. And then I walked here and he was going to be here within like half an hour. So I get here. It's like 9 in the morning, something like that. The doors on this little thing here were open. So I walk in and she's like, oh, no, we're closed. And they weren't remodeling, but they were like upgrading, right? Because now they can do those repairs basically during the day. They don't need to wait for to close the doors or, oh my God, we got to get, some stuff done. We got to get something fixed before 7:30 in the morning before we open kind of thing. And so I really honor places like that took advantage of it and obviously, had some money to be able to pay the electric bill and, rent or whatever they need to pay for in order to survive, that sort of thing. But I really like how, again, like I say, I have no problems today, right? I have opportunities. Some of those opportunities are a hell of a challenge, but, it's an opportunity. So, anyway, let me get sure. It was twitchy. He loves everyone. Yeah, I don't understand. That guy is, he should be he should either be in prison or he should be in a mental institution. I haven't decided what would be the best for society. Looks great there. Indeed. What is hilarious is that a person that gave it a thumbs down at the start is probably subbed, so they get the notifications and they gave a thumbs down. Both help the channel. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt it, right? I mean, I try and not focus on it. Rob knows how unthick my skin is, so. Have I been to Koh Samui, Mike? No, I haven't. Not yet. In fact, I was going to go down recently when Bangkok Airways finally said, hey, we're opening, we're flying down here. But at that time, the beaches weren't open. So I'm like, well, I can fly to the airport and hang out, maybe get a motorbike and ride around. But so now I think I can. I know that the beaches are open in Pattaya. A buddy of mine sent me a picture from down there. Todd says you can't get that at Starbucks in Thailand, can you? No, absolutely not. I mean, and again, like Starbucks is horrible coffee, right? I go there because it's really easy to say, hey dude, meet me at Starbucks. So it's, oh my God, one of you guys gave a super chat? Is that right? Is that what that means? Because it says 4.1. Does that mean someone paid me $4.10? Regardless, is at least on this, thank you guys. Who did that? Damo, $5.99. Oh, that's why. Okay, because it converts it to USD. So $5.99 Australian. Coffee and a tip on me. Okay, cool. That's okay. So how much was this? So this was. Did I pay? I don't think I paid yet. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. But I think it's like 80 baht. So basically, it's like $3. So thank you very much, dude. I will totally use that for this cup of coffee, and it will also cover the other cup of coffee that I had down the street in a plastic cup before I got here. It was just on the sidewalk because that was 30 baht. So right on, Damo. Thanks, man. That's like totally cool. RL says tall, white, bald guy. So not Rob then. No. This is I'm the handsome version. Captain says I love coffee, but I think I am over caffeinated this week. Don't feel that great. Yeah, well, the crash from it actually is the worst thing. But yeah, coffee and a tip on Damo, ladies and gentlemen. I'm totally stoked. Thank you, buddy. That's really cool. Oh, and then Rob thanks you too. Oh, because you think just because I'm bald, like you're getting some? Dude, get some. Roy, good to see you, buddy. Try their signature scones. They are amazing. Roy, you're familiar with this place? Oh my God, dude. Okay, so seriously, how cool is this place, right? I don't know if you were here when I walked. 21 of you and 13 thumbs up. Thank you, guys. I don't know if you were here. Can you tell I'm kind of excited? I don't know if you guys were on the stream early when Roy, if you were on the stream when I walked around outside. But absolutely, dude, this place is so cool. And I love the fact that I can just like, I'm in this third world, and again, I think we all agree it's not a friggin' third world country. It's like a ton of old meets new, right? And so I can just, you know, throw into Google Maps coffee place and just walk somewhere. And I mean, come on. I mean, I get it. Yes, I can do that in Coronado. And maybe the novelty or something like that has worn off, or had worn off, because I'd already been in San Diego forever. Or the reality is that after I walk to the 3 or 4 coffee shops that are within walking distance to my house, because I live in Southern California, then the next, you know, the next opportunity to go to a coffee shop involves getting in my $45,000 car and driving to the next coffee shop, right? To meet a friend of mine who probably also had to walk there. And in total, both of us probably will do a round trip of more than 50 miles just to like meet up, right? And so where it's here, it's like, you know, whatever, I just meet. So I love it, but I love that there are like pockets of California, pockets of Bangkok that are just like so different. And then, okay, so, and I may, as I cruise home, you know, like, as I walk down this soy, I may show you the street, because there is a condo complex called Elio just over here. I think it's 5, maybe 6 buildings, and it reeks of Farang. I mean, it is so foreigner, perfect, cookie cutter, concrete, excellent. I'm sure it's like very nice inside, and small and overpriced, and all the balconies are like too small as far as I'm concerned, and there's no chairs on them. No one goes out there to sit, you know. Basically, the only thing the balcony is for is to hold the outdoor unit of your air conditioning system, right? And then you walk down this soy, and there are houses where families of 4 and 5 live that are made out of the same metal stuff that I showed you on the soy. You know, the infamous like shanty home kind of thing, right? And they live there, and I walked by this morning, and they're out there with a broom sweeping the street in front of their house. And I don't know, man, I dig it. I love the pride of ownership. I love the people. I don't know, oh, MedTech, who should be in prison? Twitchy. Signature scones. Okay, awesome, that's cool, Roy. I'll totally do that. Very nice demo. Thai baht is 1 Aussie dollar to 21.9 baht, so a little better than when I was there in August. Oh, it's okay, that's good. That's good that it's going up. MedTech, not really worth talking about, absolutely. Coffee, LOL. Captain says, I'm looking for a, out from the west. Yeah, this is getting crazy. Thailand might be something to check out. Yeah, Captain, I don't know where, okay, never mind. The short answer is, let's just say trolls in general. But never mind. I don't want to give it any more attention units than that, MedTech. Anyway, I don't know where you are, Captain, but I'd be curious to know, like, just why you say that. I mean, I can postulate a ton of reasons, and it's kind of the reason I'm here. Many reasons. Even before there was COVID, obviously, I moved here. But yeah, it is sort of getting crazy over there. And I'm sorry about that, because as I was talking a little bit about this yesterday, as far as, okay, so like my business is lousy and I don't know why, because we like are getting top line revenue and we're lowering costs. But like, you know, other than that, I mean, oh my God, I love coming to work, but I hate going home. Chicago, okay, yeah. So yeah, so you're kind of, there's, dysfunction is available, I suppose. I'm sorry, buddy. That's a bummer. And so, you know, again, your relationship is home is lousy, so therefore your relationship is flowing in, it's filtering in, it's spilling over into like how good you're going to be as a person in another vertical, right? Okay, so like, you know, one role or one responsibility you have as a husband or whatever, so you have that relationship, and then, you know, you come to work and you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to turn that off. Like, I love people that say I separate, you know, business with pleasure, or I separate, you know, business with family, or I completely leave home at home and I go to work and I leave, you know, or I go home and I leave work at work. Yeah, good luck with that. You're a human being and you bring everything with you. I mean, that's like saying, I completely forget about when that girl dumped me in the middle of the high school dance and all of my buddies laughed at me. It's like, okay, well, if you just said that, trust me, there's a little bit of it that remembers it, you know, kind of thing. RL says not all of the West, mostly just the USA. Okay, fair enough. Australia is having protest marches as well, but I'm pretty sure people just want to go outside. Oh, they can't. Oh, there's total lockdown. No, I'm really psyched because a Thai couple just left and they were eating like kind of like. So I was actually 2 seats over, and then they sat like right next to me. And while my voice was going this way, I thought, well, they're a couple, and they were talking, and I literally couldn't hear them. And I'm going, that won't be the case when I open this. And so I said, all right, I'm going to move way over here. And the good news is that I think I'm in a spot where like new people that come in, they won't be distracted by my indoor voice, my outdoor voice indoors. And when they left, they didn't give me a. You know how you get that? Like, do you guys do that when you're on the freeway? Like, there's someone in front of you and they're not driving the way they should be, and so you go around them and you're like, you give them the eye. You're like, I so disapprove of who you are. You have absolutely no skills. So I didn't know they couldn't go outside. Roy asks, have you been to Artbox Night Market in Chuvit Garden? Cool place in the heart of Sukhumvit. So I know of Artbox right on Sukhumvit, down near. So Gracie just reported to us, ladies and gentlemen, that she's done cleaning the house and she's going to go do laundry. What does that mean where she lives? So when she cleans the house, she basically cleans the house like anyone would clean their house. She sweeps and she organizes things. When she does laundry, she gets all of the clothes together and she puts them in a giant bucket that is probably about 1 meter in diameter. And it's about, 1 foot deep, and she puts all the clothes in there, and then she goes into the bathroom, which of course is also the CR, which is also the shower and the toilet. And then she sits there and she goes like this with the clothes. Like, she doesn't even have like a, what do you call those board things? The washboard, I guess. Anyway, so that's how she does laundry. And, so I'm just like, oh my God. And that'll take her 2 hours about. And then she'll hang up the clothes, and I hang up my clothes too, But before I left this morning, I put my clothes in this giant box with a circular front glass door, poured some magic liquid in, pushed 2 buttons, and then I walked away. And when I get back, they will be clean. So I have 0 problems today. Absolutely 0 oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, Rob just deleted a message by Stuck in Florida, which I have no problem with. But I mean, I'm kind of surprised, Stuck. I hope maybe he was like referring to that dude that we don't want to refer to right now, which is cool. I get that. But yeah, I really dig Artbox, and in fact, I met my business partner there. This is back in December, before any of this was occurring, and he flew over here because we were like having meetings and brainstorming about our new project that we were going to do. But yeah, Artbox is kind of neat. But what I like about this place is it's neat, it's modern, it's cool, but it's still pretty Thai. Artbox, there's still a little bit of, I think Artbox is a little bit too, it's not, I don't want to say Western, but it's a little bit too touristy for me kind of thing. But I think I can understand why many people would like, I mean, I don't dislike it, let me just say that. And the neat thing about it is it's also really cool, like when you're cruising over it on BTS and you like look down and all the lights are there. So yeah, so I'm a big fan of that ride. RL says Australia is opening back up now, but groups of up to 20 and most places can't do it as of this week. Okay, loud Americans, indeed. That's my issue, absolutely. 20 seconds, there we go. Oh, is it soy 8 to 10? Nice. Captain says, Mike, you are too fun, Mike, for people to come up to you and complain. Well, I don't know about that. They'd be like, yeah, you're really fun, but like basically, why are you screaming into that black thing? Like, I'm sorry I meant you just named that. That's okay, dude. Don't worry about it. Yes, that dude. Hello from Atlanta, Rockman. Good to see you, buddy. Damo says, you're doing it wrong, Mike. In Thailand, you just put the laundry in a bag and take it down the street and give it to the lady who gives it back clean and present for 50 baht a kilo. I totally get that, dude. The reason I actually like doing it in my condo is that I can do it anytime I want, and then it's available anytime I want. So it's actually even more convenient. I purposely got a condo that had a washer inside of it and a big enough balcony that I could like go and hang out on, i.e. pigeon cam, but also was big enough where I could like have my clothes drying out there, and then I could also go outside and hang out there, and then, you know, it overlooks the pool, right? And but no, I get that. I mean, considering how inexpensive it is, right, to have someone else do it. Here's the problem, is I have articles that are giant, like my shirt. Like the amount of fabric that I need to make a shirt for me, because I always wear long sleeves and that sort of thing, the amount of like shorts or even shirts or underwear for that matter that Gracie could manufacture out of this much fabric is like 20x. So these, they don't ever lose. Good morning, Mr. Mitch. Good to see you, buddy. And yes, and colored strings. They always have that little thing, right? Like whenever I noticed this first at Pattaya, like they gave me my laundry back and I'm like, why is there a yellow piece of yarn in all of my, you know? And then I would go to a next place and I'm like, or like I would get a red one in the first one and then they would give it to me the next one, it would be pink. And I'm like, oh man, did they use bleach on this? Like, why are all the red strings pink? And 15 likes and 30 people. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. If it's your first time here, well, welcome to the Cool Kids table. And this is what the Cool Kids table looks like, by the way. Boom. It's this cool. It's only this cool. And so the disappointment is that while I love that, and it actually allows me to have interaction, it allows me to build friendships with the locals, with the laundry, they lose stuff. And even when I was down in Prachuap Khiri Khan, I gave her my stuff, and the woman was lovely, and she got my, I don't know, it was like 60 baht or whatever for how long, like $2. Maybe, actually, I think it was only like 30 or 40 baht. 2 shirts, you know, pair of shorts, you know, a couple pairs of underwear and some socks. And I got back 50% of my sock pair. And, you know, it's just the drag, right? And so, like, I'm undefeated as far as laundry goes. Like literally, ever since I started doing my own laundry about 19, because I want to say this is the first time I bought my first washer and dryer. It was like 90, I think it was 96. When did I buy my first house? 98. Or had my first house. And so I had my own washer and dryer. And of course, on Craigslist back in the US, I bought the old kind of Maytag with the big knob in the center because they're 150% reliable, totally inefficient, but they take like 30 minutes to wash my clothes. Now, like this one that I just put in, it's super economical, but 2 hours and 43 minutes to wash my clothes. I'm like, dude, what the hell am I gonna do in 2 hours and 43 minutes? Boom, live stream, done. So anyway, I like having it in-house. I like doing it in-house because I'm undefeated. I never lose a sock. Never lost a sock yet, baby. But the colored strings, thank you, dude, because, so that's, you know what's cool about that is that, like, that's one of the many, I would think you would argue, right, Rob? The many, like, Thailand things that you don't necessarily get when you're over here on vacation. Like, you gotta live here, and then when you go home, like, I don't know about you guys that like came here and then basically back home was going back home. Like you didn't come here like Rob and then this is now new home, like, or it is home now for me. But like I come over here and I'm discovering these things that are just like, psh, why didn't I think of that? Why don't I have that in my house? Because in the US, this is literally a $10 upgrade to like literally change my life. What is the number one thing that we all did? Bum gun. Everybody who is anybody who has come to Thailand for more than 15 minutes and goes back to the West, you walk into your bathroom when you get home and you're like, oh my God, I'm a Neanderthal. I've been like spreading this stuff all. Absolutely, hashtag bum gun. Because, I mean, I honestly don't think I was home. I'm gonna say more than 48 hours. It was probably the next morning, like after sleeping, after the plane ride. I drove my ass. I drove down to Home Depot and I walked in and I'm thinking, okay, there's no way they're gonna have these because nobody has these in the United States. And I go down the row and of course in Home Depot, right? I mean, it's America. So you go down and there's like literally 50 versions of a toilet and they're all like within $10, like $9.99, $19.99, $17.99 with 30% off. And you know, the volume of the toilet bowl is like 1.1 liters, 1.2. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I go down, and there they are. Portable bidets. I had never heard of this before in my life. And like one of them's $19.99, one of them's like $39.99, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, that must come with like a red racing stripe. It must have heat going into it. I can probably like put it around my shoulder and be like, ah, this is amazing. I can like give it to one of my neighbors. They'll be like, oh, Mike, $5 an hour, we'll clean you right up. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I had no idea. These are available in the United States for like less than $40 in a store that is in every city in the United States. And nobody has these. Yet they keep it on inventory, and I'm going, this is amazing. This is like totally, and so I bought one, and then I'm like, oh, and then I realized, right, that there are ones that you can get where when there's like, you know, the house pressure inside of the hose, right, it gets like kind of stiff. And then there are the ones, if you really upgrade, I'm talking like $49.99, oh my God, I gotta work overtime to buy this pump gun, is like they have the braid in it. So no matter what your water pressure is, it's still got the same flexibility. Well, that is the brass ring, my friends, absolutely. I am walking around clean and loving it. Second thing I did, electric kettle. Changed my life. Oh my God, that was just like so amazing to have that. I mean, I'm like, okay, this is great. Like and you know why? Because yes, I liked it, but it also was like, oh yeah, like I'm back in Thailand. Like I'm still in Thailand. Like I may have physically left, but at least I'm doing a ceremony that exists in Thailand when I was there on vacation. So I'm like kind of, I'm like, oh yeah, basically in Thailand, right? I'm so incredibly Thai. Oh, and then here's what was awesome. JC talks about this, and when he said it, I'm like, oh God, thank God I'm not the only one. When I got home, I Googled, map, whatever, Thai restaurants and Thai massage. And I literally went to as many of them as I possibly could. And like I would use my like 4 Thai words. I'd walk in and be like, ah, somebody krup. No big whoop, how you doing? Somebody mind krup? And then, oh, you speak Thai? Oh, yes, I'm incredibly versed. You should see my bum gun. And I'm like, this is just like, I just want to be part of this Thai-ness, right? Well, then I started befriending some of these people. And one of them that I befriended that really we became like close and we shared and stuff. She had a boyfriend back here. She had a law degree, okay? And in Bangkok, she worked at I almost said Mackenzie Brackman, LA Law. She worked at Baker and McKenzie, which at the time, if you don't know, Baker McKenzie basically used to be the largest law firm in the world by number of attorneys. And so they had an office in San Diego that they've since closed, but they had a big office here in Bangkok. So she had a bachelor's degree from Assumption, and then she got her master's from Chulalongkorn in law, and she passed like basically the Thai bar. So she was an attorney, and I know this because as she was giving me a massage for 2 hours for $70 in the US, which is basically free, I said, so like, why are you over here? Are you over here? Oh yeah, I'm over here to learn English. I said, well, your English is pretty good. Did you go to college? And she goes, oh yeah, I have a master's degree. I'm an attorney, but I'm making more money here in San Diego giving massage. Tanya. So anyway, so she comes over to my house, right? And dude, I was like, this is the best purchase I've ever made. It just hit me in my mind. I'm like, I am so Thai cool. It is not even funny. I should be wearing orange robes. I should be walking down the sidewalk carrying a basket so people will give alms to me. I'm gonna go barefoot. I am like the walking friggin' Buddha of San Diego. And so she goes into the bathroom, closes the door, and I guess she probably looked at it, but she closes the door and I hear this, oh, Thai style, Thai style, right? And I'm like, oh, dude, I am so Thai right now, you don't even know. You know, and of course my fantasy is that she like literally sent a message to all of her friends, took a shot of it, sent it to all of her friends back in Bangkok online. Look at what my American friend has in his bathroom. He is so incredibly sophisticated. Oh man, that was just so crazy. Damo says, before flying back, I made sure I take everything to the cleaner to make packing easy. For sure, yeah, because they give it to you in the plastic and it's like a lot. I did. Dave Cool, love your energy. You inspire me to think. Okay, if there was a guy named Dave Cool that loves my energy, I think I'm doing something right. Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the Cool Kids table. I've seen you here before. I'm glad you're back. Todd says, I hear you, Mike. I bought a portable washer for my apartment because taking it to the laundry room, my clothes did not get clean. So that was the other thing, too, is that a lot of times what they won't do is use bleach on white things. Additionally, they can get lazy, and while it will dry so slowly, and they'll not necessarily dry it in direct sun. They'll just put it out with all of the other laundry, and when it dries, then you get it back, and it smells a little moldy. And so I don't particularly like that. Whereas if I do my laundry, I know that there's no one else to blame but myself. ass blaster. Of course you have one there, Brian, because you're friggin' amazing. Absolutely. Hashtag bum gun. Must be a shock using a bum gun in Boston in the winter. So you know what's funny about that is, so Gracie came to San Diego, right? Now in San Diego, again, it's not like there's snow there, but it absolutely gets 40 degrees, okay? Like in December at night. And then, for like an hour, and then it goes back up to 60 and, whatever. But the point is that the soil gets cold, right? So therefore the water pipes, and so the water coming in. And so that was another thing that I really laughed at, is like Gracie and I are living together and she's there. And of course she goes in and, she looks at it and she says, okay, well, this is, I wouldn't expect anything else. I mean, if we're in this incredibly rich, best country in the whole world, and there's not a way for me to clean myself better than I can clean myself in the middle of the woods in the Philippines, then you guys have been lying to us for our entire lives, which of course we have. But she's in there, and then I hear the psh, and I hear this ooh. And I'm like, I know exactly what that was from. It's like, yeah, it's a little chilly. Amazon, 35 bucks app cloud. I got my second or third one, I think, from Amazon, Brian, and I was just like so psyched. Patrick says dry toilet paper is barbaric. It is. Guys, once you come here and you realize, okay, so this third world country, in the mornings, these people from this third world country, they go outdoors to sweep dirt. So the top layer of dirty dirt is like moved away, and then now there's like clean dirt. Okay? And then I use a public restroom in the middle of nowhere in this third world country, and I leave there cleaner than when I leave the hospital. And I'm like, I mean, again, guys, it was just one of those, one after another. People are like, oh, what do you like most about that? It must be the girls, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't hate girls, but they're the cleanest ones I've ever met. So, I mean, it was like, there's just so much about it. You wanted heated, surely, absolutely. Live my ass off bum gun. Oh my God, that's true. You know what, Rob? Thank you so much for that marketing idea. Here's the deal. If Rob Wagner from 20 Seconds in Thailand can have condoms that have his face on it, well, I should be able to have my face on a bum gun. And if not, well, then there is something wrong with the entire universe. Oh, live my ass off. Gotcha. Uh-oh, bad word. Oh, ass. Did he have to? Yeah, sorry if that. Thank you for whoever, did it, if it squelched it, if it graded out. Rackman, the house is heated, so tank temp is okay. Yeah, so there you go. It's not so bad. Oh, yeah, because Brian's from back east. Would be good to have an electric flash heater. That would be pretty decent, right? I'm having a deja vu moment, Mr. Mitch. So you know what's funny, dude? Just as I saw the word deja vu, I thought, really, like the strip clubs? So I'm not quite the priest that Gracie probably wants me to be. Spray my ass off, Patrick. Oh, we are so doing this. It is going to happen. But you chose a Filipina, interesting. Well, yes, I did. And in fact, I chose it after a, not super long, but the longest Thai relationship I had had with a woman right before that. And I think I told you a little bit about why that finished, because of her attitude towards money and the way that she needed to show it off. Because again, and the short answer is that she was simply behaving in the almost identical way that I have seen poor, if you will, or underprivileged, let's say, people in the United States who win the lottery, right? I mean, what's the statistic? 50% of them after like 2 to 3 years are bankrupt, or they're out of all their money because they don't know how to, use it, sort of thing. And that was her deal. She ran into money, and she, at the time, she didn't know how to spend it, and she was also trying to show off with all the people in her village, and she felt as though that was sort of a required behavior. And a lot of that was unattractive. And then it was also, I said, look, you can spend your money however you want because it's your money, but you're going to run out. At this run rate, obviously I didn't use that phrase with it, right? I said, but this doesn't scale. It's not going to last. I'm going to switch from my gimbal, because we're not really walking around. I'm going to switch to my tripod, because if I do that, then I can plug it in. I can use I can charge my battery, recharge my battery. What song is that? Can't remember. And then I'll be able to do this and stay here not indefinitely, but definitely stay here longer, and 38%. And that way, you guys that have been here before won't be like, yes, Mike, we know what that sound means. Your battery's dying, you moron. I kind of want to be in front of that because I don't like it. I mean, it's not necessarily ugly like Rob's hinges, but it's... Yeah, there we go. I think that's a little better. It might not be, but I think it is. So there we go. Although it's a little farther away, and I'm gonna have to reach way out there to see the comments. 34 people, 21 likes. Thank you guys so much. You're friggin' amazing. But I chose a Filipina. Yeah, indeed. And let me ask you, so why do you think that that's interesting? Because again, you know, I've dated, I mean, my first sort of real girlfriend was from Morocco, and she was in Boston, where I met her. We met at the University of Massachusetts. She was an engineering student. And cool, it's charging. Double check. Yep, there we go. So, you know, and again, it was just, the personality was better. So I don't really know. I mean, I get what you're saying, dude. I mean, it is, you know, because you're like, oh my God, you like had this amazing experience in Thailand. You know, but that's kind of like saying, oh my God, you're a white guy. I can't believe you're dating a black woman. It's like, okay, well, whatever. She was cool, you know, whatever. But I get what you're saying. I'm not mocking you, trust me. And that's not where I was going with that. Road less traveled Southeast Asia. Be happy you are missing all the madness in the U.S. Yeah, I'm sorry that you guys are going through that. I'm curious whether any of you are looking at that and somehow you're like, oh man, this is an opportunity. I mean, you know, I'm not saying, oh great, I'm going to go to the swap meet and I'm gonna sell more Molotov cocktails than anybody. You know, I mean, I don't know if you're like looking at it that way or whether you're just like, no, this is an opportunity. Like if you're a psychologist, like, oh my God, my business is going to explode. You know, and so. Damo says, yes, at the roads, I agree. That I'm missing all the madness, huh? Damo says, gotta go, Mike. Time to sweat my ass off at the gym. Good for you, my friend. That's great. Catch you and do on Rob tomorrow live. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna throw up well, I'll throw up the scheduled one and then I'll put up I'll put something in the community tab to let you guys know. But again, 9 a.m. tomorrow, Bangkok time. 9 a.m. tomorrow, Phuket time. You see how I just did that, Rob? I'm basically being part of you. And so yeah, so that'll be pretty good. 10 p.m. East Coast. Laugh my ass off a bum gun with Mike's face. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? Come on, man. I could add value in your life like you've never thought before. Okay, bro, I'm out. See you tomorrow. Right on, Rob. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for swinging by. I appreciate it. Go get some sleep. Rackman says to MedTag, Gracie probably chose Mike as much as he. Oh no, absolutely no. Trust me, I didn't put a gun to her head to date me. She was She was not. So I'll tell you a story. So I meet her, right, and then I leave, and then we're talking, and my plan was then in March, during my birthday, I was gonna fly back to the Philippines and see this new girl that I met, that I was basically in love with, but I wasn't totally sure, you know, and she wasn't like sure she was in love with me either. I mean, we only met, you know. So I'm gonna go. I get up to LAX. I get on the plane, and the plane is the plane that goes from LAX to Manila nonstop. And at Philippine Airlines, and the quality of the maintenance on the plane was lackluster, and we sat on the tarmac for over 3 hours, and they like started the plane, restarted the plane. Anyway, I've told this story a couple other times, but the short answer is I was supposed to be with Gracie for like a week. I was going to cruise over there 10 days kind of thing, and we were going to get to know each other better. We were going to do some traveling, and so from the airport at LAX, like 6 hours after I'm literally supposed to be in the air, I call her and I'm like, I can't come. Like, I can't come. And she's on the back of a motorbike in Boracay, like going home from work or something like this. And she like kind of can't hear me, so I got to like call her back. And I'm like, no, I can't come. And so then we started messaging back. I said, I'm sorry, I just can't come this time. Like, I don't trust this airline. The next airline they can put me on is 3 days from now. And I just feel weird about it. I just don't, you know. And I'll never forget. I mean, her response was, I have no words. And you can probably understand at the time why she was pretty skeptical. She's like, okay, so is this guy just like stringing me along? Like, is he one of these standard guys that basically just wants to have a relationship online? He just wants to, you know, chat kind of thing? Or does he like really want to have a relationship? So she was very skeptical. We chatted, and she was still like, okay. Well, then in September, I was going to a conference in Barcelona. So I cruised over to Barcelona, and then from Barcelona, I literally went around the world, like over the course of a week or so. Went to Barcelona. From Barcelona, I hopped on a plane, went through Istanbul down to Cebu, met Gracie at Cebu, and then from Cebu we stayed there a day or two, and then we went over to Sikihor, and we stayed there for like 3 days, and then hung out. And, you know, I mean, again, she told me, she's like, I was a little skeptical, like I didn't think you were coming. And so, you know, and I can totally appreciate that. So, yeah, so she absolutely chose me because she was like, I don't know about this guy. But, you know, the good news is that, you know, through my words, but more importantly, through my behaviors, I proved to her, like, look, I'm willing to do this thing. Like, I'm willing to sit in Turkish Airways in a 3x343 config next to fat guy on my left who's like spilling over the armrests, and I got no leg room, and I'm going from Barcelona to Istanbul, and then which was not a bad flight, and I had some decent leg room, but then Istanbul down to, oh man, Turkish Airways, I will never fly them again. They're totally incompetent. The customer service is horrendous. Horrendous, not in the mood. Interesting, because you're clearly in love with Thailand. I am in love with Thailand, and so is Gracie. Gracie's totally in love with Thailand too. She loves it over here. Brian says to me, buy into window installations. Yeah, he mentioned that last time, right? Like all American. Hey, Carl, good to see you, buddy. What's up with you? Me too, just arrived. Jim, I will set volume to max. You know, it's funny. That's like totally awesome, MedTech. I think that's rad that you're like, and what did you say? I was getting like another 20 dB a gain or something because I was in the cup holder, which my ego loves, as you know. And so I guess I talk fast enough so that you don't need to listen to EDM. You just need to listen to my voice. Yeah, okay, 1.2 miles, 1.3 miles. I'm going around the track. I love the running, the treadmill thingy. I just think those are a great solution. And the cool thing is that they're in almost every like gym in every hotel in Thailand. They won't necessarily have free weights, and I've never really been into that much anyway, but I really like the treadmill, which is cool because, of course, you can run indoors where it's kind of air-conditioned. Running outside, the only time I was running regularly, and I did like 5Ks and stuff, and so when I would go to Pattaya, and again, it was like, you know, I was only there for like, you know, maybe 2 weeks or whatever. So, you know, I would get there in the middle of the night, jet lag, that sort of thing, and it's like 4 a.m. and I like can't get to sleep. Well, 4 a.m. in Pattaya, the weather's actually not that bad, and especially in December. So I would go out for runs on Beach Road. So I would run there and that sort of thing, so it wasn't that bad. And then, you know, I would wake up 2 days later, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go for a run. It's only 10:30 in the morning, and I go, it's just like, oh my God. It's 106 out and it's in December. Like, what am I thinking? Oh my God. Captain Photon says, after you spray, how do you dry it? Sorry, first time. You just basically tap it with paper, toilet paper. And that's really the only amount of toilet paper you ever need, which is why, like, in the US, when everyone was like, oh my God, I gotta go buy tons of toilet paper because I might be quarantined. Over here, we were like, well, I've got 4 rolls. I mean, that should last me the next 30 days. That should be good because you just dry it off. I will also tell you that one of the things I do sometimes is nothing because, you know, it's so friggin' hot. Sometimes I just, you know, pull it up and I walk away and I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. You know, it's just water, right? So I use my roommate's Chihuahua to dry off. Mr. Mitch, I want to hang out with you. That is friggin' awesome, man. Rackman says Phil Airlines is like that in the 90s. The IFE was down, but in-flight entertainment. But they let me look into the boxes, had an ArcNet issue. Oh, seriously? Like they had a LAN that wasn't able to stream? Give me a break. Glade plugins, plug it in, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm supposed to use the Chihuahua after the bum gun. Psh, right, completely spaced. Am I like caught up on comments, guys? Oh my God, look how amazing I am. Just ask me. What, are you kidding me? One of the things I did forget to do is I forgot to put this URL in livemyassoff.live. We've only been live for 59 minutes, so I haven't been kicked out yet. Laugh out loud, indeed. Hey, so Rockman, okay, so does that mean that you're a network guy? So in fact, you were the one who said that, right? Yeah, Rockman. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to accomplish. I have a second router, basically. It's a DSL. It was originally a DSL router that came from True. It was like in the drawer when I moved in. Okay, so basically I turned off DHCP, and then that allows me to, you know, with a cable out of my current box, I can just simply pass through, and then I have, you know, effectively an AP, right? So, and that, you know, gets DHCP from the original router. Okay, fine. So I can use it that way. And the reason I do actually is because if I can, what I do, just so you know, I hang it over the railing and I use it down in the pool. Because the building is essentially a giant Faraday cage, right? And so there is so much rebar and so much concrete that the Wi-Fi really doesn't penetrate a whole lot from all of the people that have their own individual AP, right? Access point. So anyway, so I hang that over and I have the antennas, and then so I can use my Wi-Fi down at the pool, which is great. So, basically, exactly, Wi-Fi extender. But what I would like to do, and I can't because it's not like sort of it's not a Linksys or whatever. It's made by some third party. So in my mind, if I could flash the, you know, the software, I don't know why the .bin file, right? If I could like flash the firmware on there, that was what I was thinking of, and, you know, use like, you know, open VPN type thing, then I can, you know, use that. Because what I would like to do is I would like to have a secondary SSID in my condo that is tunneled back to, say, Boston or New York or California or someplace like that. Now, obviously, I have VPN Express, right? And I can, like any machine I have, I can, you know, do a VPN tunnel, and that's how I do stuff when I need to do stuff back east. But what I want to do is I want to have this, you know, what is now, right, a Wi-Fi extender. I want that to, every time I connect to that, I want the traffic from there to simply route back to, exactly. So the WRT side I checked, but unfortunately it's not compatible. So my only question is, am I basically stuck just using this as a Wi-Fi extender, or is there some other solution other than WRT that you know of? And if you'd like, I can, I can't remember if I know that. No, I can't remember the manufacturer of it, but it is not a standard chipset. So anyway, I was just like, well, how can I like tunnel this back? Because again, you know, obviously it's really, I mean, I use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN makes a solution, and they're like, look, here are the generic routers that you can get, like a you know, you can get a Linksys router anywhere. And then, no, it doesn't need to be super directional. What's interesting about that is actually I get the 5 gigs down there. But the, you know, the antennas are basically 2 paddles, which basically means they're a piece of coax going into the plastic, and then they remove the shield. So it's a 2.5 centimeter, right, for it. You know, so effectively it's really sort of, you know, more tuned to what is it, quarter lambda of 5 gigs. But the point is that yeah, I've done the Pringles can thing before, dude. I mean, that was like really cool. What I find to be more effective is simply to have a back plane, effectively. I mean, because again, you know, it's basically a point in space, and you're getting 360 degree radiation. So it's real easy to just make that 180 degrees radiation. You just huck some tinfoil behind it, and you know, and I could do that if I wasn't getting enough signal. But I get, you know, I get fine signal on the 5 gig band down there. And I can't remember whether the thing uses the 5.4 or the 5.8. I can't remember how that works over here. Obviously, I think 5.4. In the United States is more focused on healthcare initially as an unlicensed band, but anyway, regardless, yeah, I figured the thing that I was trying to do, if I could use, if it was a compatible, you know, router, basically at that point. With WRT, then I could throw that on there. But again, this was one that basically, in other words, True, the service provider, they simply, you know, buy a whole bunch and they huck the True name on it, you know. So I mean, I figured out who the manufacturer was, and it's not like it's manufactured by Linksys, right? So it doesn't have the chipset. But anyway, so I was thinking about doing that because it would be nice to just be able to, you know, connect to an SSID and then blam, I've got a VPN tunnel, and not necessarily a secure. I don't necessarily need a VPN tunnel. Hey, Paul, good to see you, buddy. I don't need a, you know, a secure tunnel, but I would like to have, you know, the ability to say, oh yeah, well, this SSID brings me into Boston, kind of thing. Because, as an example, I have that experience with my telephone, okay? So I have a VoIP device, and then out of that, there are 2 RJ11 jacks, right? And I plug my cordless phone into that. So I pick that up and I get dial tone, and I have a United, you know, I have a US phone number. I have a 619 area code phone number that was my business number in San Diego. And so, So I have that through a company called VoIPO, VoIPO.com. And it's this little device, and I can obviously, like you guys know, from VoIP traffic, you just plug it into grabs DHCP, and then bam, the firmware inside of it, it makes a tunnel back to its SIP server, and then you get, US dial tone. So that's pretty cool. I have that. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I should be able to replicate that experience. Can you allow only your MAC addresses into the extender? Yeah, sure. Just like any Wi-Fi AP, right? I mean, I can say, look, only allow these MAC addresses. And, because I've only got, let's see, in total, I got 2 laptops, I got 3 phones, and I have my, what's the Google thing that you plug into your phone? Plug into your TV, to give me some security. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I've got a password on it, but it's only, I don't even know what I'm using. I don't know if I'm using Amazing Caught Up. Yeah, no, crazy, right? Every now and then I could pick up 1 or 2 words. Hasitbot. So basically something is 50 baht. Chromecast, yeah. And then I have my Chromecast device. So I think, and then, there would be a couple of like Gracie's phones when she would show up. So yeah, so it's only like 7 of them or whatever. So anyway, yeah. So I mean, that would be easy to do. But, I guess I should. Hasitbot, yeah, all I know is 50 baht. But what it is it is you've probably experienced it. I mean, so that's advertising. that is their social media advertising right there. And they are likely a family that either has or goes to a giant market that gets wholesale produce or well, right now durian is very popular. And they'll go and they'll literally pile the entire pickup truck up to about, if it's got like a cover usually, up to about, a foot or so from it. And then they just drive around with the bed back down, and they drive around and they do that all day long. They just announce that they have that for sale, and then people will like wave and they'll stop, and then they'll buy this fruit or whatever. I mean, I bought like an entire watermelon for like 30 baht walking home the other day. And I was like, God, this is so cool. And it's funny too, because I'd never really been into farmers markets in the US. 21 thumbs up and 23 of you watching. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Hey, Brian, what is up? Not much, man. I'm just I'm living the dream. I got to wake up this morning and everything else is gravy. And I'm at this really cool coffee shop, and so I thought I would walk around and show it to everybody, and then just kind of chill out here. And I'm only on my I'm basically on my 1.5th cup of coffee, because the first one I had was like, I don't know, I think it was maybe 4 ounces, so that wasn't too impressive. I won't go back to that place. They were nice for sure, and they're this like little thing on the street, and it was only 30 baht for this little amount, but I like the ambiance here. Although, I mean, again, I'm sitting like right next to the road, because I figured if I'm sitting near some place that gets loud and I am loud, then there's a higher likelihood that other people will be like, okay, if we want to be loud, we'll sit there too, but if we want to be Thai and actually have a very quiet conversation without the influence of Farang, then they'll probably sit in another place. But yeah, I really dig it here. It's a really, and here's the crazy thing, is that this is like my neighborhood. And there's just so much to explore just in my neighborhood, guys. I mean, it's just like, I just so dig it. One of the places that I went to, or that I want to go to, is this park that's near here that is, it looks like it's either the same size or maybe bigger than Lumpini. And I can't remember what king it's named after. It might be Rama 9. But it's like, King Rama 9 Park or something like that, and it's really, really big. It's east of here, and I'm thinking about, and I can't like take a bus. I certainly can't walk, so I'll probably just take a grab over there. I think it'll be like 100 baht or 200 baht or something like that. So Stuck says, I thought of being in a village of only a few hundred people. I wouldn't hear those advertisements. Boy, was I wrong. The egg man, the pork man, the vegetable man. Absolutely. Isn't it funny? Because literally it will go from that PA system on the front of that little Mitsubishi or little old Nissan truck, right? Datsun in some cases, to dead quiet. Like all you'll hear is a cow, you'll hear chickens constantly, or you'll hear a buffalo, and then there'll be nothing, and then there'll just be wind, and then a dog might bark in the distance, and then the pork man shows up, and then the vegetable man shows up, and I totally know what you mean, dude. In fact, the woman that I was with, right, prior to Gracie, Malie, she has a big house. It's the Thai style, up on pillars, and then some teak and a porch, and then I think she's got like 7 rai of land. And the minute she buys this place, and this is like really common, is that she's like, okay, well, I can farm this thing. But I didn't understand it at the time. I like show up, and she's got like these like backhoes that are in her backyard, and they're digging this giant pond. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. Why are you gonna do this? And I said, how are you gonna fill it? She goes, well, it's gonna rain. I'm like, how much does it rain here? So, one night it's raining, and it's raining and raining and raining and raining and raining, and I wake up the next morning and poof, there's like a foot of, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what can you grow here in 15 minutes? And it's one of those places where she grew mangoes, and she was growing bananas, and she was not a large woman. She was, a Thai, like 4.5, maybe 5 feet. And the leaves on this banana tree were almost twice as big as she was. I mean, it was just like amazing. And, and of course, I, like a moron, I'm like, oh, what's your water bill here? She's like, for what? And I'm like, oh, right. She says, I either wait for it to rain or I have a well. I mean, there's no water bill. I think she was like, well, what did it cost you to install your well? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to connect to this one over here. And then I'm going to add this to the live stream link. Starting at about 6 in the morning. Yeah, absolutely. They start cruising around. Who needs an alarm clock? Sleep when the sun goes down, wake up with the sun, rinse, repeat. I'm there, dude. And it's funny because, Rob, we're doing our live stream tomorrow at 9 a.m. But I mean, he's a night guy, kind of like Rike or whatever. And I'm usually a morning guy. Like this morning I woke up about 5:30 because it starts to get light out. Like I purposely don't have like blackout curtains in my bedroom because I want to get up when it gets light out. And the other thing is I usually have the window open. Because for the most part, by sundown, by about 8 p.m. or whatever, it's not, crazy hot outside. So I'll just open my window. And the nice thing about where we are is that it is not in the middle of the woods enough, but there's still some foliage, such that I can open my window and I don't need to screen and there's no mosquitoes. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, so I just usually sleep with my window open. And if I don't wake up when the light comes, I'll wake up when I hear the swooshing motion of the pool guys down there with their brushes and stuff, the water's moving, and that just sort of wakes me up. And I think it's a damn good way to wake up, man. And then when it gets dark out, I'm just like, okay, pretty much like the night's over, or the day's over. I'll just, I'll go to sleep or whatever, or I won't, or I'll watch some Netflix. The show that I'm watching on Netflix now, The Blacklist with James Spader. I was a huge fan of James Spader when he was in Boston Legal with Denny Crane. But I haven't really seen him in anything since then. And he overacts, right? But he's good for this character. And so anyway, so I'm not even at the end of season 3, and I think there's like 7, maybe 8 seasons. I think like season 6 or season 7 is like now on Netflix, or it's coming on Netflix. But I find that to be a pretty good show. So usually I detox my brain, or I basically, plates off after like, 6 or 7, usually when it gets dark out. And even last night, like I started, before it got dark out, I was like eating, and I had some spaghetti that I bought down at the market the other day, and some chicken and some sticky rice, of course, because the chicken and the sticky rice lady, when she was, yelling out of the back of her little cart, she had the ring going. And, so I had that, and then like the sun went down about, 30 minutes later, and then it got dark, and I was like, okay, and I look up, and I was like, oh, I'm tired, I'm gonna go to sleep. So I get up to go into the bedroom, and I look up, it's like 8:45. And one of the first things that I thought to myself, because we were talking about, you know, me and Rob maybe being on a live stream again on the stream yesterday. And I don't know if he got back to me yet or not. I can't remember. But I was thinking to myself, man, it's like 8:45 and I'm tired and I'm going to bed. I hope Rob doesn't wake up and say, yeah, totally, man, let's do another live stream at like 10:30, 11 at night. I'll be like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like take a nap, set my alarm. So when he sent me a message this morning and he goes, yeah, you wanted to do it at 9 a.m.? I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Absolutely. I mean, it's only 9:20 right now. I've already been going for an hour and 15 and I'm thinking we need to double click on another coffee because Rockstar gave me $4.10 US. So that's like pretty cool. Stuck says it's dark about 11 hours a day, every day. I guess if you could sleep that much, it would work. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Do I sleep that much? No, I mean, again, I sleep. I'm usually in bed long before 10, usually around 9, kind of thing. Because I mean, again, that's one of the greatest things about, you know, being basically retired, you know, is that I wake up when my body wakes up. And I'm really, actually, here's the other thing too. If I was like to sleep, I'm one of these guys, this is Mike's theory. Doesn't work for many other people. But my theory is that if I wake up and like it's too sunny, like if it's like 7 a.m. or whatever, one of the first things out of the immediate gratitude that comes to mind is, oh man, it's like 7:30, it's 8 o'clock, whatever it is. I slept in way too much. I'm wasting the day, is the short answer. It's like, in other words, if it is light out and I have not been awake doing something, then it's like I'm wasting the day, kind of thing. And I don't know why I think that, but for some reason I do. Let me connect to the Wi-Fi here. How's the signal, by the way? I mean, it was jittering at first, and it seemed like it might have been doing that just now, but it doesn't seem. 27 of you and 22 likes. Thank you guys very much. I absolutely appreciate it. You sleep when you sleep when you put you in the ground. Absolutely, dude. Plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead. I'm right there with you, Todd. That's like totally awesome. Matt says, it never was a morning guy, Mike, and I've worsened with age. I average about noon, but most jobs come afternoon to night. Okay, well, that's cool, man. I mean, I assume that you work online or whatever. And the other nice thing is that you allocate attention units to go to the gym and take care of yourself. I mean, I assume you do this every day. Congratulations, dude. I don't do that. I don't exercise that way every day. I don't do anything every, you know? Like, you know how people will ask you, okay, well, what do you do like every Tuesday? Like, what do you do every weekend? What do you do every Saturday? You know, and because I know people that like literally every November at Thanksgiving, they and their family would say like, great example. He and like 2 other families, they would rent a house in Kauai and they would go to Kauai every November for like as long as they can, you know, think about Thanksgiving. That's what they would do at Thanksgiving. And he's like, well, what do you do every Thanksgiving? And I'm like, I don't do anything every. Like, I just have never wanted to do that. In fact, honestly, I think once I got over 15 maybe, and you know, because I mean, up to that point, you're pretty excited about Christmas because you're gonna get stuff. So I was like pretty excited about all the stuff I was gonna get, you know. But after a while, it was like, well, we're gonna do the same thing this year as we did last year, you know. And just for some reason, that just like never really excited me. I think I do like doing. I think I like to do stuff a lot the second time. Like if I had a really good, like for example, I will come back to this coffee shop a second time, big time. You know what's interesting about me? I don't know whether you guys do that, and I don't know whether this is an only child thing or whatever. The first time I do something, I like to do it by myself for some reason. And I don't know whether that's like an exploration thing or an only child thing, or maybe I don't want to like bother Gracie with something that I find to be unenjoyable or whatever. But I really like doing a lot of things, like at least 50% of the things that Gracie and I will do. I like to have done that by myself the first time, and then I like to bring her into it. And then I guess, probably selfishly, I like to share with her what I liked about it. And again, now that I think about that, I'm sure that's quite selfish because, in other words, it's not, but again, 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, I really like it when Gracie and I go to a place for the first time together, and neither of us have been there. Neither. And so it's neat because I was actually flashing back on when we went to this zoo that had literally only been open like 2 weeks for the first time in, I think it was either Langkawi or Penang, Malaysia. and we went to the zoo, and it was, you know, obviously it was, well, not obviously, but Gracie had never been to Malaysia. I had never been to Malaysia, so we went to Malaysia together for the first time, and we were experiencing all this stuff for the first time. But then there are other experiences, like I'll get, like this right now, having this experience by myself. I really like it. I really like doing it, like this time, the first time by myself. And I don't know why. And it might just be because, well, right, Mike, you're doing a live stream. And if like you were talking this much and not, and like literally Gracie was sitting here and you like never looked at, I mean, that would be weird, right? It's like, do you have a relationship or do you have an employee? I mean, like, what is that? That would be weird, right? And so signal good. Thank you very much, Cap. Really appreciate it, buddy. Good morning, Carl. Nothing beats a good sticky rice with mango in Thailand. Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you that I totally know what you mean by that, but I've had mango and sticky rice, but without the sweetened condensed like milk stuff on the top. And it's not as good. I gotta tell, and I like it warm too. I like the mango cool, and I like the sticky rice and the sauce or whatever. And I believe that's sweetened condensed milk that we pour over it, right? And I like that warm. I like that part warm. And oh yeah, I could eat that. I could eat that until I get the size that I am right now. Is the short answer. Yeah, absolutely, man. But thanks a lot for coming by, Carl. I really appreciate it. Towing and roadside service. Oh, dude, wow. I mean, here's the interesting thing about that, is that I remember years ago, I thought to myself, man, now that cars are getting more reliable, we won't need to. And I have needed those guys regularly throughout the course of my automotive ownership. I used them in a different way for my newer cars, meaning that like every time I bought a new Acura, it came with like roadside assistance, right? So like I would go, like for example, I would go to Thailand and I would park my car in the parking garage at work for, you know, sometimes 6 weeks. And I would get back, and of course, because of all the silly electronics and the hard drive that's in my dash to like do everything, there's a little bit of trickling that comes out of the battery. By the time I got back to my car, the battery would be dead. So I just call like 1-800-ACURA, and I'm like, hey, my battery's dead. Can you like send somebody over? And they would send a, you know, roadside assistance guy, and he would, you know, he had either the pack, right, the massive battery pack, and he would just usually hook that to it because that was enough, or he'd have the big clunk, the big socket, like right on the like in the grill of the truck, right, and he would do that with the jumper cables. But that was the only way that I used it. But my point is that like all throughout from this time when did I get my license? Either 15 and a half or 16. From that point, from that car, all the way to probably, when did I get rid of my car? I got rid of my car last year, and I think I used roadside assistance for that car for once, at least once, because the battery died. I used roadside assistance. And so my point is that, like, dude, it's like almost a guaranteed job, I guess. I mean, I don't know whether you've been doing it less now, because, you know, people are like, well, I can't even start my car, dude, let alone like drive it. But additionally, for sure, your occupation has been one of those that's like necessary, because and so therefore I'm assuming that any sort of like lockdown you were immune to because of your profession. So that's really cool. The other thing I want to let you know is that every single one of you guys, at the time, there's some sort of belief in my mind that like, okay, this dude saved my life. Like, in other words, I'm not calling him to say, hey, roadside guys, like, how's it going? Like, my car's running great. I'm not in the middle of nowhere. I'm totally not stuck. I'm having an amazing afternoon. I'm at a spa. No, I call 1-800 tow truck guy because I'm screwed. So it's really neat. And, okay, so sold my car. And so I was like basically renting cars. And I tried Turo. And that was in San Diego. And this was literally like 2 weeks before I moved here. And so I had ordered like a Toyota Yaris, like the cheapest car possible, because I'm like, look, it's just me. Effectively, I need to rent a motorbike, but I'll rent a Yaris because it's just a motorbike with 2 wheels. You know, it's the only car that comes with a kickstand. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get this thing. And you know, I got like 65 miles the gallon or something like that. So I rent this thing. Well, I get there, and the guy, thinking he's going to like give me a better experience, he says, well, do you want a Mercedes? And I'm like, well, for how much, dude? I mean, I don't have any ego attached to how I drive anymore. Like, I'm moving to Thailand, dude. I don't care. you know, and he comes out, and it was an old classic Mercedes, and he's like, yeah, it's the owner's car, and you know, because what happens with Turo is, yes, individuals will do it, but like, you know, shops will do it. And so a guy that like repairs cars, he'll repair a car and get it for like, you know, $3,000 or $4,000, and he's like, okay, well, I'm a mechanic, so this thing may not look brand new, but this Hyundai Accent, this is one of the most reliable cars on the road right now because I've taken care of it. So he can like Turo this thing all day long. And he's like, you know, I either have my car, it could be his car, sit here, or I make $50 today. Okay, fine. So he does that. So it's this old classic Mercedes, and I'm thinking, okay, this is great. So I go out and I get into this thing, and it's like a mid '80s, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is like one of the ones I've restored before. So I'm driving this thing. So I drive it, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I come off, and the transmission, it won't like stay in gear. So it's basically like it's in neutral even when it's in reverse and drive. So either the linkage was screwed up or the transmission was bad. But what was funny is that as I got in the car, I looked at the front, and then in the front, you know, there's like a hole in the bumper, right? And there's the tow hook. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of weird that that's there. I wonder why that's there. I didn't think anything of it. And then as I'm driving it, I pull over, I called the people that rented me the thing. I said, well, you got to come get me. I need to get somewhere, and now I'm not somewhere. So I need you to refund my money after I get back to your shop, after you get your ass out here and pull me out of, you know, I was in Del Mar in the middle of the day. It was not horrible. Anyway, so roadside assistance guy comes, and he gets there. He was super nice, right? He's got a flatbed, but he gets there and he looks at the bumper on the front of the bumper on the car, and the tow hook is sitting there, and he comes out and he goes, oh, wow, you've already got this set up for me, right? And I'm like, what? And then I thought, oh, right. Like all he has to do is put the angled flatbed down, put a hook on that thing, and then pull it up onto the thing, and he's good to go. And I'm thinking, maybe that's why this hook is here. Maybe that was maybe that was an indicator I shouldn't be renting this car or have any degree of expectation that it's going to be reliable. So yeah, so I absolutely used that service in 2019, early November. And so anyway, that's awesome, dude. Thank you very much. Every day's a holiday, kinda, yeah. But now that I'm over here, it is, in the sense that, you know, I don't necessarily know what date. Like, I believe today is Saturday. I really do believe today is Saturday. But like yesterday, the day before, I was like, is it Thursday or Friday? And then I think about it for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know what day it is, based on like what I've been doing. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, I don't really know. You are absolutely a San Diego guy enjoying the channel. Thanks, Steve. Are you from there? That's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I lived there for basically 30 years, and the last 6 of it was in Coronado. So that was, that's even more than San Diego, because Coronado is really chill. It's nice. It's not like Maui chill. It's not like Hawaii chill living. But the beauty of Coronado is that like I walked pretty much everywhere, and I loved that part about it, because dude, whenever I went over that bridge at like, I mean, I used to leave work earlier than this, but for the sake of argument, after like 5:01 p.m. and I crossed the center of that bridge, I was on vacation till like 5 the next morning. It was awesome. And then Fridays, on Friday afternoon, when I crossed the center of that bridge, after I got over the center, I was on vacation until Monday morning at like 5 a.m. when I woke up, and I'm like, this is great. Like, I mean, a lot of people will staycation in San Diego. Like, they'll even live in Chula Vista, but they'll go up to Del Mar, or they'll come up to Coronado for the weekend and stay at the Marriott and use the pool and have the whole thing. But dude, I staycationed like almost every night, and it was just so awesome. It was just one of the greatest places I ever lived, in Coronado. It was outstanding. And of course, the house I had was wonderful. The woman that owned the big house, Miriam, my BFF, she's 89, I think, this year, either 88 or 89. And the way she describes it, she goes, you know, I'm not 89, I'm 80 effing 9. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so cool, we're gonna hang out. And she was great. She was like my second mom. My mom would come out and visit me, and she would stay in the big house. They had their own room. They call it Anne's room, because my mom stayed up there. Her and Miriam would like go to lunch. My mom literally walked to the library every single day. She's a librarian. She loves reading. She loves books. She'll be reading 2 or 3 books at the same time. She reads every single day. Both my parents are very well educated and academic and smart and you know, and well read. And but my mom, she was a librarian, and that was like the best job ever for her. And so she loves going to the library. You know, some people like to go to like used bookstores. I don't mind going to coffee shops. I love going to the beach. So, so I would submit that my mom probably loves going to the library as much as I love going to the beach. I mean, it's up there with that. She also loves going to the beach. She loves being at the ocean. And so I think because of whatever DNA influence there was, I get a lot of positive, solution-based energy when I'm near the ocean. Not just a lake, not just the water, but the ocean. And I don't really care why. All I know is that there's enough of those places in the world that I can get to for a reasonable amount of money in a reasonable amount of time, such that like if I'm ever feeling down, I'm not like, I know the solution. I know the solution. The first part of it usually is to call someone who is a true friend. And if you guys heard me use this phrase before, at the end of the day, I believe a very short, there's many definitions, but a very short definition for me of the word friend, of the role of friend, is that someone who's willing to save my ass before they save my face. And so I have many of those friends. And so when I'm not feeling as grateful as I possibly should, and I kind of like feel like I'm like naked, but I'm wearing like a really old cheesy wool sweater. I'm like, why don't I feel like good right now? And I'm like, you know, feeling that way sometimes physically, but also like emotionally. And I'm going, okay, like what about what around me right now isn't freaking perfect, right? It's like, well, I don't like this, or when I don't like, these damn, you know, they don't take the brown leaves off of the green leaves of these beautiful, but yeah, I guess they're beautiful banana plants, but I don't really like them right now. You know, and if I catch myself doing that, I'm like, dude, you know, come on. And I get like that, you know. I don't necessarily do it on YouTube live streams, you know, and I'm not gonna like make a video about how pissed I am, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna upload this, man, and I'm gonna like have this, you know, totally earth-shattering epiphany of like, you know, hatred towards the world, and I'm gonna show these people. I'm like, no, man, come on, relax, you know. But every time, and the good news about being older, I think, or maybe being more mature, I don't know how mature I am. I'm just more mature. I'm more mature than I used to be. I'm not real mature, but I'm more mature. And I think one of the key indicators for me of that is the fact that it doesn't take me too long to acknowledge the fact that I'm not in gratitude. And you know, and sometimes I can get different notifications of that. Sometimes it's me noticing it, like, the real glaring notification is when I'm short with somebody and I shouldn't be. And sometimes that's Gracie. Gratefully, it's not more than probably, let's see, we've been together 4 years. I know the first thing that always comes to mind when I think about behavior that was glaringly obvious that I was not part of the cool kids table and needed a timeout was when we were in the hospital in the Philippines. And I was feeling horrible. I had amoebiosis, and because of where we were and the amount of time that it took me to get to where we were, meaning at a very good hospital with a doctor that spoke very good English, and the facilities were all air conditioned, not just the one room that was the ER. And the minute you're done in the ER, you move to the next room, and of course you've got an IV, and they're trying to flush your fluids. And you know, I was pooping basically from the mouth as well as, you know, from the bum gun area, basically every like 5 minutes. It was brutal. And so it wasn't just like traveler's diarrhea. It was traveler's diarrhea, but it was also amoebiosis, and I was on like antibiotics for over 36 hours, like drip antibiotics from a bag for over 36 hours. And I was unhappy. And so I snapped at Gracie. She like literally spent some time. She went out to like get me some food because I didn't want to eat, but I knew I was supposed to eat. Like I needed some liquids even though I had the thing. She went out and she like got me some soup, and I don't know exactly what I said, but I do remember two things. I remember looking down at the bowl of soup, and then I remember what her face looked like after I, you know, verbally expressed my disappointment of her love for me and trying to encourage me to take care of myself and eat. And yeah, I'll never forget that. That was a drag, you know. And I was just like, I mean, I've apologized for that behavior to her several times. She remembers it too. She also remembers it though. Her version of it is like, she was like, okay, yeah, he's pissed, whatever, and he's being a jerk. But she's like, I don't know what to do. Because, I mean, I was in the hospital, and the way that I go into the hospital in the Philippines is I call whoever's around me and I say, where is the best, most expensive hospital within 200 miles of where we are? Get me there right now. I don't care what it costs. Let's do it, because it's not going to cost that much. And I get really demanding when that occurs. I don't act very Thai. I'm a bad patient. I'm high maintenance. I'm a child when I'm really sick. So, you know, I know that. And I remember behaviors when I'm like that. And I am grateful that I am sober enough, that I'm conscious enough, that I'm aware enough to be able to see behaviors in myself like that, ideally before it comes out of my mouth. But I'm able to, you know, make amends very quickly afterwards. Because, you know, again, to the people that deserve it. In other words, if there was this woman and she was a phlebotomist by resume line item, but she didn't have the skill set, and she was like poking me all over my arm, and I just said, stop. I'm like, you are not qualified to do this. Find somebody who is. Get away from my arm. And I had absolutely no problem using that tone of voice and that wall. That wasn't a healthy boundary. That was a wall. You stay away from me. Just because you're on duty right now doesn't mean that you're the one I want doing this. And so then someone came over, of course, very reluctantly, but had the skills and embarrassed that woman. Luckily, it wasn't in Thailand, so there wasn't a whole saving face thing. There was a disappointment, and there was a saving face thing that occurred because we were in the Philippines. But anyway. Captain Photon says, I do that too, Mike, because I want my partner to like it when she goes. If not, it could get ugly. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, condensed milk. Yeah, that's the cool, sweetened condensed milk. MetTech says, I thought about trying to do it in Thailand, but the model seems very different. Police have their own tow trucks there. Yeah, I don't know if you could do it here, and I know that you probably couldn't make the same living here. Because, again, it's a very low paying, and in fact, I don't even know if you could do it legally. It's probably one of those professions on that list of like foreigners can't do this, you know, and usually they're very manual labor related. MetTech says, funny that you mentioned Turo, because I'm rebuilding a car to offer up on Turo. 2014 Dodge Journey, and insurance company didn't total it. Absolutely, dude. I mean, again, if you know how to fix it and you don't have to like pay the hourly, you know, to get, I mean, let's face it, Dodge parts, my God, you can get that, you know, anywhere online, eBay, for God's sake. Steve says, LA guy, laid back, but nowhere near as laid back as you San Diego guys. So it's interesting that you label me as laid back. I suppose I'm caffeinatedly laid back, right? I mean, I'm energetic, but I'm just like, my pet rye. Ragman says to Carl, one thing to watch out for in stocks or real estate investing, when the herd rushes, it's time for you to get out. Yeah, absolutely. What is Warren Buffett's one? When people are greedy, I get scared. When people are scared, I get greedy. I like that one. MetTech says, you are always offering to help people. Is there anything that I can do for you while stateside? Oh my God, dude. Thank you. Absolutely. First of all, the short answer is you offered that. Because like right at this second, I don't have anything I need. But what I need, just like we all do, is I need a guy. Like I need to be able to say 1-800-MET-TECH, like, dude, I have this really bad issue. And there are a lot of my friends that don't architect their life that way. And so I always have like friends that are gonna save my ass before they're gonna save my face. And I don't have friends that necessarily do that with their life. So knowing that I know a guy that like has a tow truck at the ready, or is like, look, dude, I can give you, I can give you a decent deal on a Turo right now because my car got totaled, but I gotta go to see my grandmother in the hospital. Dude, you're friggin' awesome. I will absolutely reach out to you if I need to. Thank you so much. I'm honored, buddy. That's, thanks. That's cool. Rackman says, and the reverse is generally true unless the world is melting down, which you could argue depending upon what part of the world there's a mild meltdown occurring. Carl says, I'm about back to where I was in March. Glad I didn't pull the trigger and go to cash. Yeah, I'm basically, I'm certainly no lower than where I was before I moved to Thailand. But you also got to remember that between like November and mid-January, right? That was like when the bull was like, oh my God, I am like going, and so I'm down, but yeah, it's like I'm fine. Rackman says, I was in Colombia in January. First heard China was having the situation. Almost went to cash, but it's all good. Yeah, it was funny, guys. I'm standing there, I'm in the shower, and it's like January. And my investments are absolute. I mean, I'm up 25% in January from where I was in like October. And I'm thinking, wow, this is just crazy growth. I mean, this is like hockey stick growth that you pray to God you're going to be able to perform with your entrepreneurial venture for your angel investors. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I literally had this phrase in my mind, and I should have pulled out and went to all cash then, which was, the market is in free fall. I don't know why that burst into my head. I don't know why I did it. But to my discussion that we were having the other day, guys, about how there have been so many times in my life where I should have gone with my gut. And again, my gut's not based on, well, I'm having a bad day, maybe I should. No, it's based on like what data I'm taking in from around me and all of the experience I had and the behaviors of people that I observed in 2007. You know the movie The Big Short? You know how there's that scene in there where that, like, you know, they refer to him as a douchebag potentially, you know, because that's how you label a guy like that. But he was the guy, and then in the scene, he's like, dude, like 2 weeks ago I was working at a Walmart, and now that I'm doing real estate, I bought a boat yesterday, you know, because they were making this ridiculous amount of money. It's like, dude, you're a tool. That's probably a better word for me to use, especially since I know my mom listens to these on the playback, so sorry about that, Mom. As they say, the first million is the hardest. Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Carl K, me too. Wish I had listened to Peak Prosperity's channel advice and gotten out in February. Yeah, I mean, timing is everything, right? But again, don't forget, like, the cool thing is that I got out as, yeah, it was going down, but I didn't go all the way to the bottom. Because I remembered in 2008 and 2009 how bummed I was that, yeah, it was coming back up and I was going to restore everything, but I had zero cash at the time. And I said, man, now's the time to have cash. I should have had, so I sold and had some cash. And then I guess I sort of like rebalanced, right? Carl K says the number of new investors with Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard is a bit frightening and telling. The number of new investors. Oh yeah, well, there's also a lot of younger investors, right, that really didn't think about it, but for whatever reason, they're people in their 20s, and that's a great time for them to start, and they're opening up Robinhood, numbers sort, because it's the app on your phone that you can like buy, sell, trade, that sort of thing. And it allows them to get in with for like $1,000, and so that's pretty cool. Carl K says, but time in the market is better than timing the market. Agreed. That's what the one thing I really love about Richard G's statement, which is you got to participate. Like the first, like Stocks 101, you got to participate, and you may lose, but by losing you may learn how to win, kind of thing. So that's like really cool. MedTech says, selfishly, I'm also glad bad things happened because I didn't have any stocks or cryptocurrency before March/April collapse. Good for you. You got in March. Nice work, dude. That was absolutely smart. Good for you. I think you're going to be successful. The debate around cryptocurrency is obviously always going to be there. So I mean, I have a passion. I have a real obsession, actually. Not an obsession. I have a big support. I'm a big supporter of the blockchain technologies that each sort of different company movement has. So yeah, so I'm a big fan of where that's going. I'm glad it's. I love the new part of it. People are like thinking outside the box, and I don't love the whole. Oh my God, the big banks. Let's just like crash all the big banks and let's go with this block. No, come on, don't do that. Carl K says, if I hadn't gotten divorced and had cash in 2010, I'd be retired with no worries. Yeah, Carl, still debt free, but would have had a house that appreciated twofold since I sold in 2011. Yeah, absolutely. And if I bought, 10 condos in Pacific Beach, California, when I moved there in 1989, right? I'd be a multi-millionaire, but I would have had to have held those condos the whole time. Your payment for that house since 2011, I understand what you're saying, dude. I'm not, saying you're doing anything wrong. But one of the things that I do when I make statements like that is I'm like, okay, well, let's step back a little bit. Let's like play the tape the whole way through. If I had still owned my house that I sold like 7 years ago, yes, it is appreciated approximately $100,000. But in the last 6 years to live there, I would have had to have paid $150,000 to live there. Okay, so because my mortgage is about $2,000 a month, right? And if I had lived there for 6 years, you know, do the math. And so it's like, yeah, my house would appreciate it $100,000. Well, that's awesome, Mike, because it would have cost you $150,000 to live there. So guess how much money you would have lost, sport? But again, buying into the equity, and I got to live somewhere anyway, right? So somewhere else that I potentially just paid that money out of pocket. And it's like, right, but I was only paying $2,000 per month out of pocket. And then I was taking another amount of money because I was actually living somewhere that was significantly less than what my mortgage was, even though I was only paying rent. But I was also happier. And like when the dishwasher, just as an example, when the garbage disposal went bad in my sink, I didn't have to think about anything other than saying, hi, Miriam, I'm going to go to Home Depot and replace the garbage disposal. That was all I had to do. I told her about that. I did that. I bought the garbage disposal. I replaced it. And then she paid me. Rarely when I owned a home did the house pay me to like fix it. So I get what you're saying, dude. Trust me. But, you know, it's also a lot to be said because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure getting divorced sucked. And it was like a total emotional cratering potentially in your life, or maybe it was a massive relief. But at the end of the day, you know, I mean, you didn't get remarried since you got divorced. And so while getting divorced sucked, you know, I'm guessing it was probably, you know, in hindsight, it's like, boy, I should have done that earlier, or thank God I did that, or whatever, man. I mean, I guess my point, Carl, is that, you know, there's always a learning experience, right? And, you know, we can should ourselves all day long, and then we end up shooting all over ourselves, right? But now I just rent both homes and women. And yeah, and again, dude, and you're happier doing that, right? Because it just works out better. And I get what you're saying. It's totally cool. Todd says, wait for this month. They think it will crash, so buy more when it goes down. What does go down will go back up. Possibly, or it will go bankrupt. That's absolutely true. It depends what you invest in. I agree. Motion is commotion. Money is made when there are rises and falls, for sure. There's always opportunity, dude, depending upon how you look at it. I love that, Rockman. Good for you, buddy. MedTech said, had I not bought commercial property and bought Bitcoin in 2009, then I would be a billionaire. And things we don't know at over time. Had I not bought property, and instead bought Bitcoin in 2009, yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, some of the best advice I ever got was from students at the university, because this guy, Matt, and it was like 2008, 2009, and Bitcoin was, I think it was like 1 Bitcoin per $1. And he's like, oh, Mike, you should really get into this Bitcoin thing. And I would like hang out with the students. I'm like, so what do you think is new? You know, one of the students says, oh my God, Google's so amazing, I'm going to invest. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I mean, I get where they IPO'd, but I don't really think, I mean, $110 for Google, I don't really think it's going to go over. Come on, you know? And, but yeah, I'll never forget Matt. And he's like, I don't know, I'm just going to buy like 100 Bitcoin. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, because at the time you had to like ACH money into a potentially crackable wallet, and hardware wallets were a little bit tenuous back then, right? So, I mean, you had to go through a lot of attention and a lot of steps to get your money out of to get your fiat cash out of like Bank of America into somewhere that I mean, Coin Market Cap wasn't around yet, and Coinbase, I mean, that's sort of like the default, I mean, next finish to get an account on that, right? And you can move money in and out and all, very easy. And he's like, yeah, he said, you know, Mike, look, just spend $100, buy 100 Bitcoin. Yeah, where would I have been in 2017, right? But also don't forget along the way, like, thank God that bad thing didn't happen. Like, I'll give you a great example. I was walking across the street or somewhere. I was walking somewhere recently where I was not paying attention. And there was like something, I don't know if it was a truck, but I was like a motorbike, or it was, the point is that there was a scenario where I was neglecting my role, meaning I wasn't paying attention to what I should be doing, and I was like distracted, or I was listening to music, or I was looking down at my phone, or I was the point is, I could have gotten to a lot of physical harm had I been 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps back, or whatever. And like, you know, one of those deals where I'm just like walking around and the motorbike goes whoosh, and I'm just like, whoa, you know, you wake up, then I'm like, man, whew. You know, thank God that didn't happen. Had I only been walking a little bit faster to go invest in that real estate that potentially would have made me $1 million, had I been walking any faster, I would have gotten hit by the bus, right? So I'm aware that there are those scenarios that happen in my life too. I'm totally aware that I should have bought as much Amazon stock as I absolutely could have afforded, or as much credit as I possibly could have yanked out of my credit cards in 2010 on Amazon when it was $80. But maybe by not doing that and not having $2.8 million or something by last January, I wasn't in such an obsessive hurry to get somewhere. And so because of that, it was not a big deal that I rush, or that I was at least paying enough attention where the motorbike went in front of me like that versus like that. Because I've had like that. Like my first motorbike accident in Thailand, I was sitting there on the back of a motorbike, sitting, wearing a helmet, person behind me, sitting there, not mobile, wearing a helmet. And I was behind a bot bus, and if you've seen my videos, I've talked about this before, but the bottom line is I was sitting there like this, and then I woke up. Basically, I came to 30 minutes later, I don't know what happened in that 30 minutes, in the emergency room in a Thai hospital. And I was just sitting there. So, thank God I did whatever I did in the universe that potentially had me have less money in my checking account, I guess. But I lived through that. So, I got to wake up this morning through no fault of my own. I could be dead because I was just sitting on a motorbike, and I guess someone drove into me by accident. I guess the bot bus backed into me. I don't know what happened. Massive hematoma on I wake up, friend next to me, my blood all over her sweater, sliced up my toe, smashed my knee, you know, and so I like to think that even though I missed out on, you know, buying 100 Bitcoin, because of the way that my life happened, at the end of the day, in 2019, that occurrence in 2013 or 14 or whenever I happened to end up in the ER, all that is an interesting story on YouTube now. It's not like I have to run my life this way because I am able to walk around Thailand, but I have to walk around with a colostomy bag, or I have to do whatever, or I still have this hematoma on the side of my face. I mean, there's still a bump there. If you look at the way that I speak and this part of my mouth is up a little, and it's like kind of this smile, but it's not like, you know, it's not like perfectly like this. It's kind of like, you know, and that's the reminder of the accident that I got in. But this smile is the reminder that I don't care what the number is. I have enough. I have a finite amount, but I have enough zeros that I know where my next meal is coming from. I am 250% convinced Gracie loves me. And I mean, I don't know why I have that level of confidence, but I might not have it if in 2017 I had, I don't know, it went to 20,000, right? And so I had $2 million in Bitcoin. You know, maybe I would have been like, oh, you know, I'm too good for Gracie, or this girl's not whatever, you know, oh, she's not perfect. She doesn't have, you know, size C's that, you know, or whatever. Or, you know, she's not well, or I would have had this attitude. I don't know. But the point is that all of the stuff that I didn't do up until right now allows me to do what I do right now. So, Mike, what'd you talk about for the last 10 minutes? Oh, nothing. I just was talking to Met Tech a little bit. Carl K says, I don't think the market will crash like expected. Any other time than in an election year, I'd agree. Yeah, election years are pretty indicative of more potential. I completely agree with you on that one. Rackman says 2.5 million people went back to work in the U.S. October surprise. Yeah, exactly, right? Maybe. Stuck says, I personally think the feds will do whatever they have to do to keep the market somewhat up until after the election. That is an understatement. If you think like, oh yeah, no, they're not going to do everything they have to do, dude. They're like, okay, well, we don't really care like what job you had before or how much money you were making before or whatever, but if you apply for this special type of unemployment, like we're just going to give you $600 a week. Okay, so let's say for the sake of argument, I qualify for that. $600 a week? Guys, I get excited when you send me $5 and I'm able to buy this luxury cup of coffee. No Thai is going to pay 80 baht for 6 ounces of coffee. You know, when they're making 300 baht a day, and you guys, out of the goodness of your heart, you send me 150 baht? Are you kidding me? So take that emotional joy and just say, for the sake of argument, all of a sudden this government, that like their solution to it, let's give Mike $2,400 a month. I mean, come on. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear to me that they're going to do whatever it takes. Like the whatever it takes thing, that isn't just like some statement on a live chat on YouTube. That reeks of whatever we're going to do. The Thais, I spoke to this guy, you know, he had no job, and he came up to me and he was begging for money in Lumpini Park. But the point is, from his vision, he's just like, dude, your government just like gives you money. Like your government will like, I've heard that the government pays for you to go to a hospital to get diagnosed with COVID. I've heard that the government pays you to die in the hospital if you go and get COVID. I've heard that your government is just giving you money, like there's this unemployment thing. Like for you, like your government pays you to not work, basically. If you can't eat, if you can't afford food, you fill out a form and they give you an ATM card that you can take to a grocery store and get food, you know, food stamps, right? Okay, so the do whatever it takes thing, that is an understatement of gargantuan proportion over in this part of the world. Because they're like, okay, so like Thai government's gonna give me 5,000 baht this month. Come on. I mean, you know, that, how are you gonna eat, right? And then our government is just like, whatever they have to do, Stuck, whatever they have to do. I still have a paper wallet. Ah, nice, good for you, man. There you go. MedTech says 2009 was less than 1% if I recall what I read. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened there. Paul T says the Fed can never stop supporting the market with money printing or it will crash. I'm heavy in cash right now, says Dave Cool, and we all know how cool Dave is. Dave actually, with that name, my friend, there's a pretty good chance that you should probably be a we need to think of a role for you and people like you at the Cool Kids table. An ambassador? Do you need to be the ambassador? Dave Cool is the ambassador for the Cool Kids table. And you need to amazing. Good to see you. Good to see you, Caesar. Good to see you, buddy. MedTech says, foolishly, I saw Amazon as a loss-making company because of years of only selling books. I missed the transition to selling everything. Bezos, a visionary. I'm not. He absolutely is a visionary. And don't forget, dude, I also just bought some Amazon recently, okay? Because they're not slowing down. They're not slowing down. Baba is not slowing down. If you don't think Baba is just basically watching everything Amazon does and they're gonna do whatever Amazon did to be successful and some other stuff, I mean, I gotta tell you right now, guys, the AI overall for many things that it does, the artificial intelligence offering that is available in the Alibaba cloud right now outperforms the AWS AI solution and the Azure AI solution for a number of things. Not everything. But the point is that they are obsessed with AI in China. And they're doing a lot of things wrong, and they're doing a lot of things that involve basically denying people of their individual freedoms that you wouldn't do in the United States. And I get that. But all of the stuff that they're doing that they probably shouldn't be doing means they're doing a whole bunch of stuff that you could tailor to do what you need it to do. Meaning, they're gonna be able to have all of the cars that are self-driving, they're all gonna communicate with each other. Because guess what? We don't do it right now consciously, but when we drive down the road and our brain looks up and sees a car in front of us, our communication with that car is, I am 100 meters, I'm 50 meters, I'm 25 meters. I am going to go through this mechanical process of pushing down on this pedal in the middle because this supercomputer knows that if I don't, then I'm going to hit it and momentum will propel me through the seatbelt into the airbag. And that artificial intelligence says, okay, well, I can figure that out on the fly, and I can communicate with that supercomputer over there over a super secure tunnel using the blockchain, and I can do it at the speed of light. So someday, when all cars are self-driving and all cars are communicating with all other cars, then buying insurance is going to be irrelevant, because that's like saying I buy an airplane and I need to get liability. You know what I mean? In other words, obviously you do. But my point is that the chances of that aircraft, you know, I mean, they have insurance, but for the sake of argument, the percentage chance of that plane crashing or you being harmed by getting in a plane are so much lower. I heard this one time, I love this analogy. If you think every fear that everyone has is logical, then think about the logic behind the fear you have driving to the airport, let's say on the 405 freeway at 75 miles an hour when there is traffic, on the way to the Los Angeles airport in a car that doesn't have ABS brakes and doesn't have auto stop sensor and doesn't have an airbag but has a seatbelt. You're driving in that car to LAX, more afraid of what might happen to you as far as a death solution from riding in an airplane. But you're having that fear of the plane. You don't think there is any chance whatsoever that you could possibly die in that car, but you think there's more of a chance to. No, it's statistically irrelevant to the point where there is zero chance you will die in a plane crash, because it is so statistically insignificant. The fact that you might die on the 405 freeway, or at least get severely injured on the 405 freeway as you're driving 75 miles an hour to LAX, that is statistically significant, to the point where there is mathematics that State Farm can use to figure out how much they should charge you for your policy based on the likelihood of you having a fatal crash in an automobile, okay? So, you know, we don't think logically all the time. So the beauty of that is that when you use AI that does think logically all of the time, machine learning and artificial intelligence, not just artificial intelligence and the ability to like look up something really fast, but the ability for that actual machine to learn and learn and learn and realize, okay, that X-ray means cancer, that X-ray means cancer. Let me take all of my computing power and look at 250,000 X-rays like that, and then compare it to this one X-ray that you have here, and I can tell you with 99% confidence whether you have cancer or not. And this doctor who went to Harvard, who has been doing this for 20 years, who is amazing, he's only got an 80% chance of doing it the right way. And Alibaba's doing that right now. Their stock's at 200. So if you think you missed out on Amazon, my friend, don't worry about it. Baba's not slowing down. All of the bad stuff that China does or whatever, they're not going bankrupt anytime soon. China's not like, you know, going to be like, well, you know what, all this technology, we're going to shut down. We're going to shut down all of our factories, and we're going to stop manufacturing goods because the U.S. doesn't want to import them, or they want to put on a tariff so high that people are now going to have to pay $11.99 for a T-shirt at Walmart when it used to be $5.99. Okay, so China's not shutting down anytime soon, okay? You need to be able to buy an iPhone. You buy an iPhone right now that's made in China that costs $1,000. Think about what it's going to cost if that iPhone was manufactured even in the middle of Alabama, even where they manufacture Toyotas right now, and they manufacture them there because it's a hell of a lot cheaper to manufacture a Toyota in Alabama than it is in San Diego, California. So they move it to Alabama. So they're going to do, you know, it's a global market, dude. It is a global market. And I'm not saying don't dislike or dispute or write your congressman about how unfair the global trade practices are. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. But the point is that there's plenty of other opportunities out there, even if you think you still missed Amazon. And I can tell you right now, you haven't missed Amazon. They're not going to make less money next year, okay? Their cloud has 35% market penetration in the United States. Alibaba Cloud has over 50% market penetration in China. And China has 850 million people that use the internet every day on a mobile device. And that's half the population. They have more middle class in China than we have humans in the United States. And their definition of middle class is like a third of what our definition is in the United States. And again, they're not going to make less money next year. So there's plenty of opportunity to find your next Amazon buddy. 38 people, 27 likes. Thank you so much. I love hanging out with you guys, man. Absolutely love hanging out with you guys. I've meant unknown. I love Dave Cool. I love, you know why? Because he's cool. Life is a stream that meanders. It's the journey, not the destination. Life is, or my live streams are. Mike, talk about one topic and only one topic. False, impossible, can't do it. I love how, I love Do More Hike. He's a totally cool guy, right? And he came over from Do More Life, and I'm honored that he did that. And he interjects, and he may have already said something, I just don't know, I haven't gotten to it yet. But he like pings me, this is like a few live streams ago, he goes, because I had the schedule, right? And he writes in and he goes, what's the topic gonna be? And I'm like, okay, cool. Clearly, dude, I love you and I'm stoked that you've been to the live streams, but you haven't been to enough live streams. There's never a topic. I don't do something every, and there's never a topic, you know, absolutely not. The road not taken. 2020 hindsight. Caesar says, any chats here interested in a yacht/boat party here in Thailand, maybe a junk replica, fishing, drinking, barbecue, girls, what about it? Where is the coolest boatyard in Thailand? I would have to say, if you're talking about like the coolest, nicest yacht club, Pathaya's got a pretty good one, but I think Phuket probably has, I think Phuket's probably got the best yacht club as far as that goes. Bangkok question from Steve. Once pandemic over, how well can I live on a budget of 100,000 baht a month? You can live incredibly well. If you know me enough or you've viewed enough of my videos and you're like, yeah, I like how Mike lives, but I'm not gonna live in a 1-bedroom condo. I'm gonna live in a 2-bedroom condo. Or I'm not gonna have Gracie as my girlfriend. I'm gonna have a girlfriend who is well-educated and has a executive level position, potentially higher than mine, in Bangkok. And she's gonna be making, you know, she's gonna be making US wages here. She's gonna be making 150,000 US dollars a year, you know, being in charge of this data center or whatever. So it's gonna be a different thing, meaning that you're not gonna potentially have to have an allowance that goes to your teammate, you know, for various things. Or you're not gonna have a or you're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna go over there. I met this amazing girl. She's the love of my life. And the way that it works over here with that scenario is there's gonna be sinsod, and you're gonna get married, and you're gonna be the breadwinner, and a portion of your monthly whatever is gonna go to that. Or you're like, I am never living anywhere where I don't have a car. So you're gonna potentially be like, okay, well, yeah, you might be able to get a loan, but doubtful. Day one, you're gonna have to show up and you're gonna have to give a Mitsubishi dealer, or if you really like BMWs, or if you wanna buy a Mini Cooper, believe it or not, I realized cost $100,000 over here, like over 3 million baht for a Mini Cooper, because of the import duty. Then yeah, so, but based on the way I live, I spend way less than 100,000. I gotta tell you, I think I don't know if I have it on this. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I've been keeping like literally since day one. Like actually day minus 20. In other words, I kept track of like what it cost to get here, like my plane ticket, my extra $200 in luggage, my visa, the gas up and back from San Diego to Los Angeles. So I could potentially tell like really good friends, like, okay, dude, what's it gonna cost me to move to Thailand to do it exactly the way you did, for example, or at least like you did. I'm like, it's gonna cost you $2,714. And I don't know if that's the right number. It was probably, I think the cost to get here was like $1,400 all in with all the stuff I had to do. And then like my first week here, I think it cost like $700, right? And that was way expensive, basically, because I was in a hotel that cost like $100 for 3 days. Well, I pay $350 for 30 days for my condo now, right? I have not spent even if I were to buy a laptop, a brand new gaming, really nice laptop every single month, I might be able to spend 100,000 baht a month. You're gonna be fine, dude. You're gonna be so undistracted by the cost of everything. You're gonna have an amazing time. Dave Cool sounds like a cool DJ name. Indeed it does, MedTech, I agree. My last name is Cooley, AKA Cool. My kids love our name. Very good, very cool. To Steve Quinn, well, if you don't live like Paris Hilton, ... Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. In other words, it depends on how you live. But 100,000 baht's a lot. Now, again, don't forget, someone mentioned before, I can't believe my buddy, he did an analysis, I think it was Go More Hike. He said my buddy did an analysis. He spends 31% of his take-home net income on rent. And people are like, oh my God, that's way too high. Okay, now don't forget, like when Foreigner Joe lived here, meaning he lives here, of course, but he doesn't live in Bangkok. He lives down in Prachuap Khiri Khan, and his rent's like maybe $300 a month for this cool cottage. It's right near the beach. It's awesome, but it's in Prachuap Khiri Khan, okay? So he lived up here in what would arguably be labeled as a luxury condo, and I believe he was paying like 35,000 baht a month for that. So if you extrapolate that out, then you could potentially say, well, this guy that, is asking us, hey, can I spend 100,000 and I can live on less than 100,000 baht a month? Well, you would do a synopsis and say, hey, I know this buddy that comes over here and he spends 35% of his monthly income on his rent, on his condo, on his luxury condo. Is that too much? Well, so you could, I'll tell you what, you can absolutely spend 100,000 baht a month over here. If you're going to go have drinking companions, what does Jeremy also call them? Personal trainers, yeah. So if you're gonna go to Nana, you're gonna go to Patong, or you're gonna like be on an app every single day and having a new personal trainer every day or having a new drinking companion every day, then yeah, you can do that all day. You can spend 100,000 baht a month just on that. Because there's 30 days in a month, and you can easily spend 3,000 baht a day just on a drinking companion, just on their physical presence, let alone the drinks and the food and your rent and all that. So trust me, if it's burning a hole in your pocket, you can spend 200,000 baht a month very easily, especially in especially in the Big Mango. MedTech says, I'm Starkweather, nickname Stark. Nice. Hey, Joe, good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Joe mentioned to me in the previous one that unfortunately, as you guys know, bothers me, and it also you've had this experience too, wasn't notified of yesterday's live stream, but he let me know, and so I'm really stoked that he's here now. That's really cool. Todd Rackman, I was going to say the same, but not the same way. There you go. At MedTech Iron Man. There you go, baby. Go More Hype. Good to see you, dude. I was literally just talking about you. And I'm on. Yes, I'm on. Let me guess. You didn't get a notification. Shocker. Caesar says 100,000 baht is pretty big. And here's why he's really... His description of that is incredibly important and incredibly relevant. Caesar's lived here a long time. And after you live anywhere a long time, you can do it blindfolded. Like people are like, oh my God, I think it costs like, what's the median home price in Coronado is like $1.2 million. Okay? I didn't have a $1.2 million house. Like after you live, if you vacation in Coronado, people that vacation in Coronado are some of the wealthiest people in the entire country, because when you rent a house, when you Airbnb in Coronado, you have to get it for 28 days minimum. So most people go there for the entire month. If you're in a hotel, you can do it every night. But if you want to get an Airbnb for one night, forget it. If you want to get it for like a week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks, absolutely not. Because, it's illegal to do that. Now you can say, yeah, people break the law or whatever. Yeah, they can try, okay? But I can tell you that everybody in Coronado believes that so much, such that like your neighbor knows that this is your house. And if all of a sudden, like one day, a SUV rental car, and then like another week there's a BMW, and then the next week there's this, and then there's new families, and there's kids playing in the front yard, and then the next week there's just people out standing, whatever. They are literally going to call the cops. The cops are going to show up, and they're not going to kick the current person out, but they're going to call the owner and say, you, without a hotelier license, basically without being a bed and breakfast, you're renting out your house for less than 28 days in a month. We are going to fine you an amount so grotesque that you will never do that again, ever. Because what a lot of people do in Coronado, because they can, the house that I lived across from, they would rent that for an entire month, for basically the 3 months of the summer, and each month that house would rent for $17,500 for an entire month. And so what a lot of people would do, and that's actually kind of low. Most houses for a month in the summer in Coronado will rent for somewhere around $25,000 to $30,000. And so if you rent your house for 3 months in the summer, Many people do that, and they pay for their entire annual mortgage in 3 months. So they'll go live in Arizona, or they'll live in San Diego, like right across the bay, for God's sake, in a 1-bedroom condo and rent out their 3-bedroom house in Coronado. So my point is that if you want to, you can always like sort of, you know, fluctuate your spend and that sort of thing. So anyway, I don't know if I was really getting to a point with that, but I was just going down a stream of consciousness thing, and obviously, you know, lost kind of where I was going with that. But yeah, anyway, my point is that after that, that is the cost of vacation there. But to live there, it's like a tenth. It's like a tenth the cost, basically, you know. So, and I didn't have a 1.2. Well, actually, if the little house that I was renting, had that been able to be sold to me, it was on a giant piece of land, and so therefore I was this like 1-bedroom guest house basically that I lived in. But if you were to, like, you know, be able to section that off and just sell that one house, that house would have sold for over $1 million. It was 425 square feet. It was a 1-bedroom. The bedroom couldn't even have held a king-size bed. It was a queen-size bed, and you could kind of walk around it, but it wouldn't fit a king-size bed. Little kitchen, little living room. And the bathroom I had in my house in Coronado in the United States was literally 1/2 the size of the bathroom that's in my 1-bedroom condo now. The shower was literally 1/2 the depth of it. And, you know, but my point is that I was able to live in Coronado much cheaper than I was able to live somewhere else. And so I figured it out. So like when Caesar says, look, dude, you're not going to need 100,000 baht to live here very well. That's because he's been doing this a while, and you know, you're also going to decide, well, I really like that, but I don't really like that, or I don't need Burger King anymore, or I don't need to go to Ruth's Chris anymore, because like even if I go here, the food's okay, but it's not Ruth's Chris in the United States because they're not as decadent potentially as they are there. That, like, I mean, you know, chocolate lava cake isn't as good as the chocolate, so I'm not going to go. The point is that if you live over here and you really experience Thailand pretty much the way that like a Westerner would experience, not necessarily like a Thai would experience it, then your cost of life, as I say, is going to be much less. 33 thumbs up, thank you so much, guys, and 38 of you hanging out. That's really great. What are your hobbies? Are you asking me, or are you asking Mr. 100,000 baht? My hobbies are doing this and travel, is the short answer. Steve says to Rockman, thinking Riverside condo no more than 40,000 per month. Yeah, I mean that's true. Like if you were to live, you mean basically like northwest, right? Of like sort of the like over near Icon Siam. Yeah, you can definitely get away for less than 40,000 baht a month. 40,000 baht a month is a pretty damn nice condo. Meaning like the view is going to be epic. It's going to be new. There's going to be security big time. It's going to be filled. The majority of it is going to be filled with foreigners, and not just, you know, not like white foreigners necessarily. I mean, I got a ton of Koreans that are living in my place, and. No more hike. No, it's a figment of your imagination. Party scene or travel? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it depends what you're going to do. Game of Thrones, Season 8 sucks. Ah, didn't know that. Bummer. Captain's Log. You a Star Trek fan? What's your favorite Trek movie? So, yeah, because that was the title of this thing. No, I don't know. I'm not. I will say that I was never like an original Star Trek fan. I never got into it, and that may have just been my age and what else that I was interested in. Next Generation was my favorite one. I was a big fan of Picard and that sort of thing. I used to watch that, and I used to find it interesting. But again, it was at a time in my life when like I needed something like that. Meaning, I was obsessed about my undergraduate work, and so I would work my ass off. Like I wasn't living my ass off. I was working my ass off, studying my ass off. I was obsessed with getting A's. From basically noon on Sunday all the way to 5 o'clock on Friday. And I would go just balls out, basically, doing my homework, getting A's, getting an undergrad, and then I would just like go home and pass out, and I needed a ton of monologue, one-way information that basically didn't use my brain and wasn't calculus and wasn't applied ordinal differential equations. And that was Star Trek at the time, you know? And so that's kind of Star Trek. I know how to pronounce it correctly. I think I said track just then. But yeah, but no, I'm not a huge Trekkie. Like I don't dress up in the stuff and go to Comic-Con or anything like that. But it just kind of popped into my head. I'm like, oh, Captain's Log started. So yeah. So he just says, I would get a more moderate condo and party to find a steady. party to find a steady girlfriend who is not sucking off money for a family a lot. The women here are amazing. I completely agree. And sweet Ron Burgundy is from San Diego. Good man. Ron Burgundy. I don't really know how to say this, but kind of a big deal. Todd says to Steve, if you don't want to be tied one place, do what CB Media does. Use Airbnb. Absolutely. Airbnb is great. I mean, again, in Bangkok, you know, you can get a heck of a lot better deal. Like, for example, I have a 1-year lease because, like, even if Gracie and I were to travel, did that just reconnect? It just said reconnecting and then did it. Hold on, let me look at the most recent comments. What time is it? Right now, it is 10:24. Go more hike, but none of you guys seem to say, oh my God, where are you? There's a spinning thing, but this just told me reconnecting, so I guess I probably paused and reconnected, so I apologize for that. I am using the Wi-Fi that's here available from the place, but yeah, cool, I'm still connected to their Wi-Fi, and oh, actually, I'm just looking quickly at my Google, my watch list. So ExxonMobil's up 8%, NAT is up 7%, which is cool. NAT is like national something. They're basically an oil cargo shipping company. Appian is down 6%. That kind of bums me out. Appian, APPN, is a stock that I got into. They basically make a software solution. So you say, okay, I have this idea or I need this thing built for my business, and they will sell you like a software solution. I know that like, who doesn't do that, Mike, but it's actually the way that they do it, the engine they have in place to do it is actually really pretty sweet, and it's a good way of, it's a really good way to do it. 33 thumbs up and 38 of you hanging out. Thank you guys so much. That's like totally awesome. Watch your valuables if you take a girl home. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, the short answer is like, well, Mike, how do I, you know, make sure that I don't get, you know, taken for a ride by a Thai girl? And I'm sorry to say that the shorter answer is, well, don't be an idiot. I mean, that's pretty much the simplest thing. Oh, absolutely. I bought Shopee and very happy I did. Oh, very good. Good for you. Yeah, they're an interesting company. They got a lot of room to grow because their customer service sucks. But they're getting there. They're not Lazada, that's for sure. And Banggood is ridiculous. Banggood's horrible. Their customer service is horrible and their shipping solution is bad. Identikit. Oh, that's a new one. That's pretty good. What does this have to do with Thailand? We're talking about Thailand, and you know, I'm sorry if it disappoints you. Nico Greco, the Greek, just gave a thumbs up. How you doing, Nico? Good to see you, buddy. Love the info, Mike. Thank you so much, Captain. I would like to build a boat in a boatyard. I've never wanted to do that. I've tried to, like, sort of, you know, working on boats is a lot of work, and that doesn't give me a lot of joy. Some people absolutely love it, and I totally get that. Oh, Enrique just went live, so that's cool. So if you don't think this has anything to do with Thailand, you want to learn about Philippines, go on Enrique's live stream. Steve says to Todd, that works for Chad. I want more long-term one. Yeah, and that's the other reason, like I was saying, like, in other words, if we go, like, travel, whatever, and we don't come back to this, I mean, it's a great place to, like, store our stuff. And it's a great place to be able to say, okay, well, we need to hop back through. We need to just chill out for a little bit. Let's go from wherever we are. Let's go back to Suvarnabhumi, and then for, like, $3, let's go to the condo, chill out, you know, change our clothes, get new stuff, buy new equipment, do what we ever have to do, or we'll stay there for a little bit, or from Bangkok we'll take a 56 baht $1.70 train down to Cha-am. So anyway, Gomor Hike says, I'm shocked that you know where the best yacht club is located. Shocked? Really? Oh, okay. Part of my life was like spent. I got my first boat before I got my first car. I had a Boston Whaler when I was 12. And my dad he loved sailing, you know, little boats and sailing and stuff. And so yeah, I was, you know, and in fact, when I got it, you had to get like certified by the Coast Guard. Not necessarily for the size I had, but you had to, like, you know, go through. Now any idiot can just like go buy a boat and, you know, start driving it somewhere. Has no clue the rules of the road. They don't know what red right turn means when you're coming into the channel. You know, they don't know why 6 kilometers an hour. Why would I need to go that? You know, it's like, well, you gotta idle, dude. There's no wake. Anyway, so yeah, I grew up definitely on the water. And Caesar says, if a day costs 5,000 baht, how many times a month do you want to go out? Again, these are great questions about you are the king of live stream marathons. Thanks, Frank, man. That's cool. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Caesar says boatyard, not boat marina, for hauling out or building a boat. Well, okay, so here's the deal. Like, wherever there's a yacht club, and it looks really awesome, there's a really lousy boatyard nearby. There's a really awesome boatyard nearby for people who are like, yeah, I've only got like a 95-foot Hatteras. Can you guys, like, rip the engine out and throw some cat diesels in there for me? Yes, sir. 3 bags full, sir. You know, are you going to be paying it cash or will you be paying it gold? And then next to it, it's like, well, I've only got this, you know, I've only got a 21-foot sloop. Can you like do something with it? Or my 14-foot Cape Dory might need some, you know, class. Or my Boston Whaler. I love my Boston Whaler. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm a big fan of yacht clubs. Stuck says, I think Joe is paying 6,000 baht a month for that villa. That sounds right. That sounds right. Absolutely. Pardon me. Do you have any Grey Poupon? I don't know. I can't really show it here, but yeah. I owned a Rolls Royce at one time, and I absolutely had a bottle of Grey Poupon in the glove box. Because without fail, people would get in the passenger seat and they'd be like, oh my God, all this wood, this seat is gigantic. It's like driving a sofa. And they would be like, dude, do you have any Grey Poupon? Oh my God, you do. Grey Poupon, I remember the ads. Absolutely, dude. Do you have any Grey? But of course. Yep, it's neat. It was neat owning a car that had 2 R's on the hubcaps. That was a fun car for sure. Jim Jett says Hua Hin is good for reasonable cost mics, and if you're a really bad golfer, you'll get better. I don't like golf, Jim. I've never been into it. I mean, even miniature golf, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll hang out with my friends. I'd rather be somewhere else. I know miniature golf isn't golf. It's just like some silly little thing. But yeah, I'm not really into golf. Caesar says I would try Patong Phuket first, less of a city vibe and more of a paradise island vibe. Yeah, it depends what you want out of life. Joseph Pinto, nope, I got checked I just checked 6,000 baht a month. Yeah, that was one of his videos, right? Yep, pretty cool, man. Caesar says golfing dates would be cool. Yep, if you're into that, no doubt. Thong Lo rental would be nice. It's supposed to be the Bel Air of Bangkok. BTS close to absolutely everything. Yeah, I mean, I've lived over in Thong Lo, and I lived over at the Remix, Nobel Remix. There's like a bunch of Nobel or Noble, however you want to pronounce it, properties around here, and there's Nobel Remix, there's Nobel Sukhumvit. Anyway, so we live, and the beauty of that one right at the Thong Lo stop is the fact that you can walk out of the BTS and you can stay on the skywalk and you can walk right into the lobby. So like when it's raining, if you're one of these guys that like, look, I wear a suit everywhere I go to business meetings, and I'm either in an air-conditioned cab or I'm in an air-conditioned BTS or whatever, and I don't want to have to carry an umbrella, then, you know, no, Remix was amazing because you just like walk right off the BTS. And that place, it was a studio. Excuse me, it was a studio. We got it through Airbnb, but they were just on the, I mean, just as we got there, they were literally putting up those signs that say like, it's illegal to stay here, you know, nightly. And if you know of anyone, please report it. It's an X amount of baht fine. You can't be a hotel. It's like, these are monthly leases only. And they had a leasing office that was like, look, if you want to stay here, you can sign a monthly lease or ideally an annual lease. But you got to do it with us. You can't stay here. There's no backpack. And of course, they would have a picture of a backpacker with like a red circle and a line through it to say like, you know, you can't just stay here overnight. But yeah, Thong Lo went up. Prakanong is absolutely another really interesting place. There's a giant Q building right over at Prakanong station. But also, like they were saying, I mean, Ekamai is very startup friendly. It's sort of like co-working space friendly, like not so much anymore, but Udom Suk is an up and coming place. So if you're like, hey, look, I just want to buy a condo, and then like for the first 2 years, well, great. You buy a condo down this way, in the next couple years, it's going to go up in value. Whereas Thong Lo, you'll basically be paying, you know, kind of top of market, even though right now, because of the global nonsense, it's that top has absolutely decreased big time. You get a smoking deal on a condo in some places. Not necessarily that brand new Q one over up near over at Salkor Nana, where like the cheapest condo is 30 million baht. So I mean, you know, over there. But then Riverside too. I mean, if you're over near Icon Siam or you're over near Asiatique, I mean that's very expensive. 20 seconds of Thailand. Last thing you said was me and Gracie. The last time you were here, it just glitched. Got it. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I don't even make reservations. I just walk into a place. Okay, cool. It doesn't sound like a lot. Some but was buffering some. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But we're at 228. We're at the, wow, I lost like 10 people, so maybe that's why. Was it like 38? Now we're at 29, but we got 35 thumbs up, so thank you. Or I'm just getting, you know, annoying, and people are leaving, which is fine. Plenty of room at the cool kids table, whether it's 38 or 29. I'll tell you that right now. Totally, Brian. I'm with you. No reservations, just walk in. Now, again, you and I have been here before. Okay? So, I mean, if you've never been here before, I would recommend that you get a reservation for like one night or maybe 2 nights. When I go to a new place, every time I make a reservation for more than like 1 or 2 nights and I go to this new place, I always kick myself. And so the good news is I don't do it very often anymore. But I usually will make a reservation maybe for 1 night just because like I'm getting to a new place and I'm like, okay, fine, Airbnb, like always less than 1,000 baht. Just give me like this place, and if it's got a good location, then basically I get there, I figure out how to like rent a motorbike, or maybe I'm gonna rent a car depending upon where we are, where we're gonna go, where we're gonna eat, where we could potentially get our laundry done. And, you know, where's the market? Like, what nights of the week is the night market? You know, where the hell is the beach? It better be right in front of me, depending upon where we are. But, yeah, I like doing it that way, too, Brian. It's, like, totally cool. It's just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, what's the word? Because, I mean, again, the majority of the places you go, it's like, oh, I don't like this hotel. No worries. There's 17 other of them to your right. You know, and they're all, like, between 900 and 1,100 baht. They're all, like, the same price, right? So he says, or you can get a small moon-based Thailand and travel around the country. There is fun everywhere and ladies all around. I completely agree. Was buffering some. Glad it's not anymore. Thank you for that. Go more hike. MedTech says, my girlfriend always asks before giving money to family, unless she also giving without asking, but I don't. Good for you, man. Healthy boundary. Go more hike. Got any funny radio DJ characters you can do, like a shock jock character? Not really. I can only do me. And in fact, next week I'm gonna meet up with the guys that have been there's this, you know, there's terrestrial is what we refer to it, terrestrial radio stations, which is like, you know, FM, AM, that sort of thing. You know, they're on the radio, real radio stations, and of course many of those, along with doing that, they also do internet, you know, streaming, internet radio. And then there's ones that only are internet radio. Like I have an internet radio station, but it's only internet. There's no transmitter, there's nothing, but you can get it up anywhere in the world, and you can get it like on TuneIn, for example, or Streema, S-T-R-E-E-M-A, Streema. Yeah, it's a classic Streema. Brian would appreciate it. Streema.com, Streema. And anyway, so I have that, and these guys have been doing that in Bangkok. It's called Bangkok.fm. And they've been doing it, he said, for 19 years now. So I reached out to him, and the cool thing, well, I mean, when you're in radio, it's like, you know, they say to it a couple of things. You've been bitten by the bug. You know, you do it for fun and for free. You can't get it out of your system. You can take the guy out of radio, but you can't get the radio out of the guy. You never hang up your headphones. You know, all these little things. Anyway, so I definitely haven't hung up my headphones. And so I reached out to him, and I said, hey, man, are you guys, like, really in Bangkok? Because, I mean, you can have Bangkok.fm. You can register that domain in Kansas and then, like, have a server. Like, I mean, my station, effectively, is in San Diego, when, in fact, the server that it streams from is in, I think, either Texas or Santa Monica. But, you know, it's TuneIn, right? So they also have, you know, points of presence, like, at the edge over here. And so you can use the TuneIn app all over the world. But the point is that I was like, okay, so are you guys really here? I sent him a message on Facebook, and he responded, and he said, oh yeah, we're definitely here. We've been here for 19 years. And he's like, oh, you used to be in radio too. And I thought, wait a minute, I have no clue what is on my Facebook that would indicate to somebody, oh my God, this guy's been in radio before. Other than maybe it says like president or something, you know how you put your like title. It's like president at livemyassoff.com, so maybe he went to that, or maybe he like saw one of these live streaming videos. Anyway, regardless, he came to the deduction that I was in radio before. And so I responded with that classic radio thing, which is, yeah, I just can't get it out of my system, dude. No matter where I go, I dig it. And he responded quite almost immediately. He's like, I know exactly how you feel. Do you have Facebook? And so we then connected on Facebook. And then he sent me a message yesterday or something. He was like, hey, where do you live in Bangkok? And I'm like, oh, I'm down here in Lowen Sukhumvit. And he said something to the effect of, I can't remember. Oh, I know where it was. He goes, yeah, well, I'm over near Fortune Town, right? Which is like this big IT mall. I'm a big fan of it. And it's easy to get to, you know, BTS, MRT, and then you get up and you come out of the MRT and blam, you're right there at Fortune Town. IT mall. It's got like 7 floors of all this technology. And so I responded and I said, awesome, dude, I could totally get over to Fortune Town all day long. In fact, it'll give me the opportunity to spend way too much money at Pro Plugin, which is kind of like a Guitar Center or something like that, if you know what those are in the United States. So anyway, so yeah, I said, he's like, great, let's meet up this week. So because I sent him I said, is there anything I can do to help you guys? And I don't know whether that means they like need an engineer, because I mean, for the most part, it's an internet radio station. So other than like their studio, if they need their studio stuff fixed, that'd be easy because they're physically in Bangkok. I can get over there, with my soldering iron and or I can reprogram their automation system, or I can do that all remotely, or I can do whatever they need to do. So I thought, okay, well, can I help you guys? And then I was actually on their maybe their Facebook page or their website, and I was checking out their studio. Their studio is actually pretty nice. They have a nice little, it's digital controller, mixing surface, and then they have, a couple monitors, automation, and then they have like, a sound effects board basically that you can also use to do phone calls and interviews. They seem to have like live shows, like I think 3 to 7 p.m. or whatever. So I'm like, well, that's cool. Maybe I'll do that. And so to your question, all I've got is this radio face and this way of talking. So who knows? I don't know if I'll end up like doing a radio show or something. But I do also the other reason too. I mean, there's plenty of internet radio stations that stream out of Bangkok, but I really like their format. It's like newer music, and it's not full on EDM, but a lot of it is EDM, dance music, that sort of thing. And so I'm a fan of that. So I'll actually listen to them on TuneIn when I'm not listening to my own internet radio station. There's a couple of songs that I play that I'm like, I can't believe I threw that in the playlist. That should not be in rotation. And, so, I mean, because I have like, I don't know, 600-700 songs. And I just basically, put the headphones on and I listen to my radio station as I walk around Bangkok. I think it streams at like 192 kilobits a second. So the quality is decent. And I'm using AAC compression, if you care. So it sounds pretty good. There's not a whole lot of coloration to the audio. There's some compression for sure, so that you'll get the low end, but it's not crazy. You got to remind the viewers to hit the thumbs up. Says Cool Beans. Oh man, 36 thumbs up and 31 people watching. Cool Beans, it's so good to see you. I don't think I've seen you on a chat or commenting in a video in a little bit of time, and you may have been. I just haven't remembered. But I do remember because I was looking at some video the other day, and I saw one of your comments, and I'm like, oh, Cool Beans. I remember. He's a core group guy, And so it's really good to see you here again, man. Thanks a lot for coming by. I really appreciate it. MetTech says, reminded, just did. Thank you so much for the thumbs up, guys. I really appreciate it. Amazing stats, says Mr. Mitch. Yeah, it's fun, you guys. I mean, I totally dig it, right? I'm with you in the golf. I always like the quote, golf is a good walk spoiled. Right there with you. Absolutely do. If you wanted to do max interviews, get a condo near Nico Greco. Dude, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. And here's why I really appreciate it. Well, I've told you guys a million times why, but here's what I just thought of right now, because it's Nico Greco. Nico Greco is the first guy ever in the history of LiveMyAssOff.com to give me money. And him and Brian, Brian's been a long-time listener, a long-time channel member, subscriber as well. Those were the first two guys to give me money, and they did it because they pestered me what my PayPal was. But Nico Greco, I believe, is the first person to ever super chat me. And so thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, and just so you know, it for whatever reason, it immediately converts everything into US dollars, and it just displays that. So for me, I see right here, I see 30 people listening, 29, bummer. Right now, I see 36 people have thumbs up, and then right here I see $7.60 US. So I guess it just does the conversion with Aussie dollars. So anyway, thank you guys. I mean, that's really, I really appreciate it. And Nico says stock market is booming lately. I bought bank shares in some Australian long time ago. People buy shares, some people buy bar girls. Yeah, absolutely. Depends on your focus, right? Absolutely. But Nico, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. You're so cool. That's great. Rackman says, why do they call it golf? Shit was taken. If you ever want to see a great, like literally one of the funniest ever descriptions of golf, just type into YouTube, Robin Williams golf. Robin Williams does this stand-up skit where he talks about how golf was invented with a Scottish accent or British, or no, I think it's a Scottish accent. Could be Irish. I think it might be Scottish though. And it is literally one of the funniest things in the world. To be fair, about 90% of everything that Robin Williams has ever said is the funniest thing in the world. That guy I never was like into stars. Like I never had like posters of like, you know, like Cheryl Tiegs when I was a little kid, or like posters of a band. And then like, you know, I really loved Def Leppard, but like when the guy, I really loved Kiss, but when the guy like got in an accident and died, like, you know, I cried. I had buddies that did that. They were really into the group. And I know plenty of girls that, even guys actually, that cried when Michael Jackson died. And I was like, I don't get it, but they do, whatever. But when Robin Williams died, and especially because he died two ways that sadly hit very close to home, I cried because I really liked Robin Williams. I loved what he added to the world. It was so valuable. It was so incredibly funny. And of all the people that, you know, you could argue, well, you know, no one else should do cocaine, but it was really cool that he did cocaine because he was a complete disaster, hilarious when he was on cocaine. He got sober, obviously, and I knew him sober. But you know, the fact that he offed himself because he just couldn't stand being, he wasn't comfortable in his own skin, and the depression just got too much for him. I was like, damn it. But again, funniest ever description of golf. Robin Williams golf. You will laugh your ass off, or you probably won't understand why it's the cool kids table. MetTech says I would love to have met you in January, but didn't know about you at the time. Yeah, that's cool, MetTech. I mean, that's again, you know, Thailand's not going anywhere, man. I'm stoked for you to come over here and for us to hang out. Or if you're like, hey, I'm going to be in Vietnam next February, cool, me too, because it'll cost me $27 to get to Da Nang. This February, when Gracie had to go home and I was here by myself, I'm like, okay, well, she had to go home, but I can like still travel around Southeast Asia. Maybe I'll go to Da Nang for a long weekend. I look online, Vietnamese Airlines, Suvarnabhumi to Da Nang, $27. I'm like, my God, my visa is going to cost me more than my airline ticket. And so I'm stoked to meet up with you guys and happy to do it. The only frustration I have is a finite number of attention units, right? I mean, I met with Caesar and I'd love to do it again, but like he and I were also like not able to meet at the time we could. He wasn't available and I wasn't available at the exact same time the other day. So there's that. Additionally, I was checking my inbox. I thought I was doing a really great job about it. And then I look in and I see someone sent me an email who was awesome. I can't remember his name right now, but I remember there was a smiley face, like literally this big in his email. So maybe he remembers sending that to me. But I was looking through it this morning and I was like, oh my God, unread emails, you know, and it was like, I want to say it was at least the weekend. It was like May 23rd that he sent me this email, and all it was to say, hey Mike, I really thanks a lot. You're great, or whatever, or you're cool, or I love being part of the cool kids table, or I just found you to MetTech thing. And I was just like, I hugely appreciate that, but I was like, damn it, I missed it, you know, because it just gets lost in the, you know, because I was talking with my buddy back home who's got like some online stuff, and he's just actually getting started, and I'm even giving him pointers that the guys that have 10,000, 15,000, 50,000 subs are giving me, now that, you know, that I got 1,000 or got over 1,500 or whatever. I have a finite number of attention units, and here's the thing that made me think about this. I want to say in the last week, easily 20 of you, jokingly, you know, we're all buddies, we're all part of the cool kids table, we're all hanging out here, right? We're all part of Live My Ass Off, and hopefully when the stream stops, you guys go out and you live your ass off, and then you come back and you're like, oh, wait till I tell Mike, well, I'm gonna one-up him like crazy. Hey dude, guess what? Just ran 50 miles on the treadmill. Suck it, bald guys sitting down forever. You're gonna need more caffeine than ever to hang out with me or whatever, right? And so I was thinking like, okay, I don't have the ability to, you know, meet with people, and that's like a real challenge. So again, as you guys know, I said, okay, great, livemyassoff.com/calendar, and we'll get in there and you guys can schedule, and then, you know, and then based on like how I understand that humans work, and there's obviously prioritization on everything we do, and it's totally appropriate and it's healthy, and I get it. But, you know, I realize that there's also a behavior that I don't want to say can be manipulated, but it can be motivated, let's say. And you guys have definitely heard the phrase skin in the game. And the reality is that when people sign up for something, there's a possibility that a better offer could come along, meaning that they have to go to hang out with their boss, or their wife's like, oh my God, I just got tickets to insert awesome place here. Or, hey honey, it's our wedding anniversary this Friday, but I got a great thing tonight on Saturday, so let's go. Oh my God, well I have an appointment with this guy Mike, who I've never met. He seems interesting, but you're kind of my wife, so you're mildly more important. So whatever it is, I get it. But the whole like motivation towards the skin in the game that I'm talking about is to have people put money against it. And whether that's $10 or $15 or, you know, maybe even 50, I think my buddy said, well, you know, I charge 50. And I said, yeah, I get that. And I said, but, you know, I don't want to necessarily do it to, like, you know, weed out the guys that are just like, well, I just don't have $50 right now. Like, that's lame, Mike, you know, kind of thing, right? But then, you know, if it's like $1.99, then it's almost like, well, there's not enough skin in the game. So again, I haven't figured out a paradigm for that. I put out there that potentially, you know, when we have these calendar things, maybe I should make it like $10 or $20 or $40 or whatever. But that's not in place anymore. So there's still livemyassoff.com/calendar if you guys want to make an appointment to like hang out for an hour or whatever. If you have any specific questions is my point. Hang out online, I mean. If you're physically here and you guys want to like meet up, I'm honored to do so. But again, it's a challenge with the finite number of attention units. So anyway, I wish I knew about you when you were here in January, because that would have been awesome. But thank you for saying so. I really appreciate it. Rockman to Nico Greco, you almost always have the shares. Bar Girl might be rental property. Joseph said, what's the name of your radio station? Oh, sorry, bigiradio.com. B-I-G-I, like the letter I, radio, one word, bigiradio.com. The easiest way to play it is to just search for that, B-I-G-I-R-A-D-I-O, in TuneIn, because that app like has a whole bunch of stuff and you may or may not already have it on your phone. But basically it's the TuneIn app, and you know what I was seriously just doing? I'm like, oh my God, where the hell's my phone? I gotta be able to show these guys what TuneIn looks like. Well, Mike, you're streaming on it right now, so why don't you focus? Maybe I need more caffeine. Anyway, bigiradio.com. And the reason it's called Big I, if I haven't told you guys this before, is I started a company back in '90. Well, first of all, I started streaming on the internet using a 56.6 dial-up modem, which means I streamed in like 14.4 or 28.8, using Real Media Player, actually. And the name of the company always escapes me what it was before it was Real. REAL it's the name of the company. It's the streaming platform, you know. And you guys might remember Real Player. We were joking around about Winamp. Real Player was around in the Winamp days, right? And before like Shoutcast became more of a default play. But if you don't know, like the engine that is like Real Audio, like the compression algorithms and the streaming format and that sort of thing, that's used for a whole bunch of, like, for example, like if you've heard of iHeartRadio, well, iHeartRadio has an app that you put on your phone, right? Well, all the audio is streamed via Real Audio streaming format compression underneath, right? And anyway, so I started doing this back in '97. And the first time I did it from computer A to computer B in the girl I was living with, in our second bedroom or our office, basically. I had, you know, a PC here and a PC here, and they were connected. They had network cards in them, and they were connected via coax. And I transmitted from here, and I received here, and I was like, oh my God. And then I went on the internet, and I registered a domain. And I think when you were registering domains back then, it was like, you could only do it in one place. Network Solutions, they were the only registrar at the time, and I registered the Big I, THEBIGI.net, because the BigI.com was already taken. The BigI.com was at the time a huge interconnected, which is freeway system that they were doing in like Albuquerque, and so they called it the Big I. Kind of like in Boston, if you remember when they were putting the whole expressway underground, they called it the Big Dig. Well, this was called the Big I. But anyway, the reason I thought of the Big I is because, you know, words like God and proper nouns, right? You know, like Bangkok or your name, Steve, Mike. The first letter is always capitalized. Well, the first letter in internet is always capitalized. The appropriate spelling of the word internet always has a capital I. And so I thought, well, I'm on the internet. I'm the Big I. And so that was the name of basically the first thing called The Big I. And then it changed into Big I Things. And so I later got bigi.net because that was a smaller domain, bigi.net. If you go there, then the TuneIn radio player is right smack dab on the homepage, and you can click on that and you can listen to it. Let's see what else. And then I had a Big I brand of things. The tagline for Big I is it's the only thing on the internet. And the tagline for my consulting company, which is also called bigi.net LLC, the tagline for that is we're the only thing for your internet, right? And so it's just these little cute things. But basically, Big I is the brand for a lot of things. So there's Big I hosting, like if you want me to host your website, or you want me to make a data center for you in the cloud in 60 minutes or something like that, I can do that. Or you just want me to modify your AWS infrastructure, or you want to move everything from AWS into Google Cloud, or you want to go the other way, or whatever. And so that's bigicloud.com. And so there's these various brands, and some of them I've let go because the Big I hosting, at the end of the day, Big I hosting, actually that domain may no longer be around anymore, because I think what I just let it expire, because really all it was me just reselling hosting, right? And you don't make a whole bunch of money on that, and then I didn't particularly want to support it because, again, I'm not a hosting company. So reselling a hosting company, you can do it in two ways. You can just be an affiliate, or you can be a reseller. If you're a reseller, then you make a lot more money, but your responsibility is to support the customer. And I don't want to do that because I know, because of the way I expect my hosting to work, it works 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. And so therefore, the whole, online 100% of the time thing, if I open up a support ticket and I don't get a response within an hour, I have no allegiance to that company. I will switch to another hosting company faster. I mean, I'll drop that baby like a 3-foot putt. How'd you like that golf reference? And so I stopped pretty much doing hosting. It was just affiliate sales, and I thought, it's not fun. I don't like this. Anyone can go to Google and just type in best hosting company, enter, and then just go there. And at the end of the day, there's maybe 10 different hosting companies in the whole world. I mean, like iPower and Host Monster and HostGator and all that. I mean, all those are one big company out of Boston. And then there's GoDaddy, which owns a ton of other brands. And, so there's a whole bunch of those that do the whole shared hosting model. So anyway, and there's Rackspace for people that are really serious and they want their own, So the point is, and then of course there's AWS. And if you want to compete with AWS, you're friggin' delusional. Absolutely. There's no way you can sell cloud as low as they can with the quality as they can. And so that's why I resell AWS because they're amazing. So anyway, so bigiradio.com. And I think I played a couple of the sweepers that I have, with my buddy's voice, Kirk Bennett. So I played that. So at the end of the day, it's like a combination of rock and newer sort of, probably hits alternative, but also some current EDM. I haven't updated the playlist in probably 3 months. And so there's not super new EDM on there now, but Steve, I thought neighborhood near Arthit Pier was cool. Any option on it? I don't know of that place, but it sounds like Caesar is here. Are you referencing the Koh San Road, close to the river, very prime area for French models? Stunning young tourist in shorty shorts, haha. Nanu nanu. Did he didn't do this is like Star Trek, right? I can't really do it well, but did he do a thing for Nanu nanu? I can't remember. Stuck in Florida says, George Carlin does a skit on golf about it being the best place to build low-cost housing for the homeless. I love that. That's great. Koh San, also a mecca for young Thais. Soiram Budri surrounds a Wat on the river, end of Koh San Road. It's picturesque and cheap food paradise. And an alley cuts through to the river. Absolutely really cool. Cheap steaks there, too. Oh, cool, man. We should go hang out there. Or maybe we can get lobster over there. He was so good, George Carlin. Yeah, I'm a big fan of George Carlin. He's funny. Joseph Pinto, he was my favorite after Lenny Bruce before Robin Williams. Big fan of Robin Williams, as I mentioned. Time frame, not order of favorite. I'm proud to be an attention unit, Mike. Absolutely, Captain. Good to see you. I don't know where I first heard that. I think I got it out of Oh, you know where I think I heard it? I think it's in Good to Great, if you've ever read that book. And if you read it today, take it with a grain of salt, because of course, in the moment when it came out, it gave examples of what they refer to as world-class companies, or companies that are great, that will last the test of time. Well, spoiler alert, 2007, 2008, 2009 showed up, and all of a sudden Circuit City is a complete disaster. Toys R Us right now is completely defunct. So take it with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, good to great, you know, again, you get the right people on the bus, and then you get those right people in the right seats. You know, that's basically sort of the premise over good to great. But I think I heard attention units from there, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I just started using it. There's a great author called Seth Godin, I think. Or Godin, Seth Godin, I think. He's got, Seth has really cool glasses, just like me. But anyway, it may not be his book, but in any case, the book that I'm talking about, whether it's Seth or not, is titled, Are You Indispensable? Okay? And actually that's not, it's like one word, and then the tagline for it is make yourself indispensable, basically, to a company. And I don't want to get this wrong. I want to tell you exactly what it is. You guys could probably Google this a lot faster than I can, but that was Mork from Ork, absolutely. Are you Linchpin is the name of the book, and it's by Seth Godin. I was right. Anyway, so Linchpin is the name of the book. It's got an orange cover, and it says, "Are you indispensable?" Meaning that, like, are you indispensable to your job, such that you add so much gargantuan value? And it's not like one of those deals where, you know, you're manipulating it. In other words, well, if I leave, the whole place goes, you know, and like job security. People refer to people that like don't share their knowledge or share, you know, the way that they do things that are potentially inappropriate and completely inefficient, but they won't share it with the next guy because they don't want him to find out, and then he'll get fired. You know, that whole job security thing. It's not about, it's completely 180 degrees out of phase from that. It is basically making yourself indispensable. Why do I bring that book up? Because much like From Good to Great, again, potentially it was From Good to Great where I first heard attention units, is that in Linchpin, it's a really good book, and I highly recommend you read it because it's not just about work, but it applies to many things, much like I've talked about before, how, like, yeah, I did business coaching, but at the end of the day, it's all life coaching, okay? Because you're giving someone the ability to potentially put on a different pair of glasses and see a new way that they can accomplish things, or really pull out the excellence from them that they can't see to save their life because they're blinded by whatever's in the way. That's basically what a coach does. In other words, a coach doesn't get on the field and say, okay, quarterback, you sit down, I'm going to do it for you. It's like, oh, no, you should do this. Or it's like, no. What a coach does, it says, okay, here are all of the tools available to you. This has been my experience and how I might solve this problem, but the way you solve it is maybe this way. Or have you thought about it this way? Or you just simply ask him saying, all right, smart guy, how are you going to solve this problem? You're a CEO, you're a smart guy, you're worth $8.7 billion. How are you going to solve this problem? You know? And if they spend more than 5 minutes thinking about how they're going to do it themselves, then they're doomed. Okay? So the short answer is the amount of attention units that you spend getting the right people on the right bus and then in the right seats. That's good to great to excellent, right? And so anyway, Linchpin, about making yourself indispensable at work, is about you having such value that you don't need to do your job anymore. You make yourself irrelevant in your job position. But to do so, and this is the thing that I'm getting at, one of the best quotes I've ever heard from a business book, ever read from it, and it is such a small part of this book, is you gotta ship. You gotta ship. You gotta move product. Because at the end of the day, you can have an amazing idea, you can have a ton of people following you, you can have a ton of people that are your downline and they believe in you in an Amway, MLM, lack of integrity format nonsense. But at the end of the day, you got to move some product. And I'm not saying that means the guy at the bottom sells a can of peanut butter and therefore everyone above him gets 3% of that, and then that's why the can of peanut butter costs $11.50 when you can buy that same can of peanut butter of Jif at Costco for 13 cents. But the point is that you got to ship. You got to move product, and if your product is energy, or your product is solution, or your product is hugging, or it's talking, or it's selling kites, or clothes, or necklaces, or whatever, you can have a store filled with the most beautiful necklaces in the world. But if nobody's buying them, then you got no life, and so you got to ship. And I love that. And I use that. want to say the most recent time I used that, talking to someone who I was basically coaching for free, which I'm cautious about that because then, you know, they get all this cool information for free and they're like, great, this is a great plan. But then at the end of the day, they hang up the phone and then they go back to smoking. And they're like, oh, I love that. You know MedTech? I can work out with MedTech and he's got a cup holder and I can still listen to your videos at the same time. That's awesome. I can't wait to do that. That guy's such a great guy. He's got integrity. Oh my God, I'm going to introduce him to my sister. And then blah, 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 blah. That's fantastic, Mike. Thank you so much for seeing that and being clarity. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to take care of myself starting right now. And they hang up the phone. Oh man, I can't. Yeah, that MedTech sound. Hey, honey, why don't you get me another bottle of scotch? You know, like, or whatever the bad behavior is that you're grossly motivated at the time to do that's going to add massive value, but you don't ship. You gotta ship. You gotta get your butt off the seat, and you gotta go meet MedTech at the gym, and then you gotta make a commitment to him for time, talent, and treasure. That basically, if you don't do those things, you lose those three things in your life, and therefore it would be detrimental because at the end of the day, people are motivated more by what they might lose versus what they might gain. And that's just the harsh reality of it, which then loops us back full circle to the whole livemyassoff.com/calendar, which is you're going to be a whole lot more motivated to come to an appointment to me if you've signed up and you've potentially, this is the thinking behind this, if you spent $40 or if you've spent $30 or if you spent $50 or if you spent $500 or if you've already bought your tickets ahead of time online to go to Disney and you've paid $1,100 for a 3-day pass for your entire family, and all of a sudden your next door neighbor says, oh my God, but I just bought this boat. You're like, okay, that's interesting, but in about 2 weeks, ocean's probably still going to be there. The weather may be horrible, but it'll be warm enough, and you're still going to have this damn boat. But there is no way I'm throwing $1,100 in a fireplace to go on your boat versus going to Disney. Whereas if you're like, well, you know, I only paid Mike. I paid Mike, not Mike. I paid somebody nothing to sign up for their very important, life-changing, possibly interaction, or I would really like to know if I can live on 100,000 baht, or like, why did you do that, Mike? Why in the world would you leave the best job you've ever had in the entire life, making more money than you ever made, more comfortable in your own skin, with more contacts, and more forward opportunity, even though the culture of what was happening around you was decaying and getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and you were being squelched and squelched and squelched and squelched, and the last thing that the leader said to you was basically, look, listen, cloud guy, who's an absolute cloud expert, who knows more about cloud than 50 people combined in this organization because he invented it as part of what we do here. I want you to spend 10% of your job at work on the cloud, and I want you to spend 90% of their time, the remaining 90% of your time, managing your staff. Mike, why did you possibly leave that? I would have sucked it up. I would have stuck it out. It would have been great. Why? Okay, right? So that potentially is going to change the way that you look at something, but you didn't pay anything to sign up for it, and you're like, well, my neighbor's got this boat, and yeah, he's got it today, and he's going to have it tomorrow, and it's only Saturday, and he'll probably go out on a Sunday again, but he's asking me now, and I've only made this appointment with whatever, or I've made this dental appointment, or I've made this hair appointment. I can get my hair cut Tuesday. I'll just blow it off. I won't bother going because I haven't paid him any money. I don't front load the amount of money that I'm giving my hairdresser, so I'll just basically, you know, screw them. The amount of time that they spent on it, it's not important, and I'm not saying they do it negatively that way. We all, maybe none of you do this. I do this. I prioritize things based on the way that I think will add the most value to my life. Some things that will add the most value to my life is me following through on my commitments, because otherwise I start making these withdrawals from my self-esteem account, and then I wake up one morning and I think I'm too fat, or I think I'm lame, or I don't think that I'm deserving of Gracie, or I want to not take care of myself, or I'm in a bad mood, or I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to stew in my own self-pity or whatever, versus I'm going to wake up and you know what, I'm going to go to a new coffee shop and I'm just going to hang out here by myself, or maybe I'm going to start broadcasting this live on YouTube because there's 25 of you right now and 37 of you that somehow think that this added a little bit more value than it did the previous second before you started live streaming this, and I want to hang out with you guys because I want to share this with you guys because you're part of the freaking Cool Kids table, and the Cool Kids table doesn't exist with me by myself, so I got to do this now. And all of a sudden I just made a deposit into my self-esteem account, and I didn't even really architect it that way. But the cool part is that I do this all day long with everything I do, and you probably do it too, and you just don't acknowledge it. And all of a sudden you get home, honey, how was your day? And you're like, actually, it was a pretty good day. What'd you do today? Really? Wow, I didn't get anything done at work. Really? What happened? Well, you know, Bill came into my office and he wanted to go to this conference, and we really don't have the budget for it, but I allocated some money because he wants to further his career, so I did that. You know, so it's no big deal, so I didn't do anything. Really, what else happened? Well, you know, this buddy of mine came in and there's this COVID thing going on, and his grandmother, while she's not sick with it, she just called him up and she goes, you know, honey, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks, and I really loved it when you came over here and brought me blueberry muffins. But, you know, I understand why you don't want to do that now, because work, you know, you haven't been working for a while and now your job is back up. So I basically said, you know what, dude, here's the deal. Screw this job. The company will be here whether you're here or not, because you add value whether you're here or not. And I know you're going to come back and add value, and I know you want to work. So I tell you what, how would I pay you for the whole day of work and you go hang out with your grandmother? And then, by the way, here's $50. Buy her more blueberry muffins than she's ever had in her entire life and go hang out with her. And in fact, I tell you what, how about this? How about you work 4 10s? How about you work Tuesday through Friday, 10 hours a day, instead of Monday through Friday, and every Monday, you and I know that basically you're going to give your grandmother blueberry muffins. And then you come in on Tuesday, and you're going to be the best freaking employee that has ever existed in this company, and I don't even need to come to work because I'm your boss, but I know you got this. But I didn't really do anything today, honey. I just hung out with my guys. I just like gave them, you know, I gave them some direction maybe, you know, but I really didn't get anything done, you know. Well, guess what? You added more money to your self-esteem account than you can even imagine. You have an overflowing self-esteem account. When people ask you, Mike, oh yeah, glass half full. Half full? There's no glass that exists that can hold the amount of awesome sauce that I carry around with me in my backpack. Half full? My God. This thing's overflowing. Give me a half full. I mean, that's a minimum. People that are like, oh yeah, half empty or whatever, I don't even know where those people exist. Those are the kind of people that thumbs down. Those are the kind of people that don't even know how to spell Cool Kids Table. Those are the kind of people that are like, Cool Kids Table? Who would we want to be part of that? Not you. Not you. If you have to question it, not you. If you don't want to come here and you don't want to add value and you don't want to shave your head, spoiler alert, guys, that's going to be a requirement for the Cool Kids Table. Wait, did I edit that out? I can edit that out in post. No, but there's this self-esteem account that we all carry around, and I swear to God, it is so much easier to add balance to that self-esteem account. It takes energy. It takes architecture. It takes obsession. It takes negative energy to make these withdrawals. It is so much easier to make a withdrawal from your 401k and take the 10% hit and pay the 30% tax. It is so much easier to take that money out of your 401k than it is to make withdrawals from your self-esteem account. And it is so easy to make deposits into your self-esteem account. Oh my God, it's the easiest thing in the whole world. But we don't do it. It's common sense, but it's not common practice. And I think about that all day long. I do a 9-hour video and then I shut the video off and then I'm like, how could that have been better? How can I add more value there? And again, yeah, Mike, well, you're obsessed, you're a moron, you're spending way too much time. You should be spending time doing something else. Maybe, for you, that would work. For me, I'm just like, oh my God. First question in the stream today, guys, what was it? Mike, what are you grateful for today? Are you kidding me? What am I not grateful for? You know? I mean, you know, yeah, oh, Mike, you quit your job, you used to make all this money. What'd you make today? I made $7.60 on Super Chats from 2 of the coolest guys I've never met before in my life. I am there all day long because Joseph figured out how to come up with a completely separate rating system that is good, bad, and then so freaking awesome, bad is irrelevant. That's Joseph. And he's just one of the guys at the Cool Kids Table. And then I got all you other guys here. And some of you just can't be here right now because you got other things to do, like earn a living, or go to the bathroom, or get a good night's sleep, or tell all of the stuff that you just thought of maybe while we were doing this to somebody else because your daughter's like, Dad, I don't really know whether I should go into law enforcement or whether I should get a bachelor's degree in the social sciences or whatever. And as a father, you're like, okay, wait, my 19-year-old little girl just came to me for advice. Whew. I guess I've been making deposits into the self-esteem account for the last decade. I didn't even know about. How did that happen? My God. What'd you do today? Oh, nothing. I just talked to my daughter. Oh my God. You've got the best life in the whole world. You need to show it. You need to share it. So that was my yes answer. LOL. Nailed it. That was Mork from Orc. That's an awesome necklace. Where did I get it? Maple Leaf Dave. I got this in Maui, actually. I got it at a like a roadside shop. That is, the cool thing is that there's this like strip mall, like a little bit further down the road, and it's got a Subway, and it's got a CVS, and it's got all the stuff you need, and it's got a very manicured parking lot, and they sweep it every day, and they keep it clean, and basically it's filled with 110% rental cars, and everyone goes in there because it's really easy to get what they do. Before that is this, when it's raining, grossly muddy parking lot. So therefore, you drive through it and it gets like this. So even when you drive through it after it's dried, your car like goes like, it's a complete pain in the ass to get there. You gotta drive around back, and then you come in, and then you enter, and then right there is the best mango shakes known to man, made by Sylvia. And Sylvia knows how to make a mango shake with a smile. I don't care what it tastes like. I care about how I feel after I leave, and I'm talking to Sylvia. Then I walk down the alley, and I see these necklaces. And I look at one, and naturally I'm one guy standing there. So the woman's basically, oh, well, you should buy this. And I looked at another one that was, shocker, less money. And I looked at that one, and I looked at this one. She says, oh, you should buy this one or whatever. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm only gonna buy, I can only buy 2 of them. And she looks at me like, what does that mean? And I said, well, I need to buy one for Gracie, because we need to both have one. So both Gracie and I have one of these. And I bought them when I wasn't with her, and then the next time I was with her, I gave it to her. So thank you, I completely agree. This adds massive value to my life, and it's one of those goofy 70, or 70% silly things that I do that I think are just awesome, that people could mock all day long, which is I'm always carrying Gracie with me. I'm always carrying her with me when I wear this necklace. I'm always carrying her with me when I wear this ring, because she wears one that's very similar, because we got these at a gold shop right down the street from where the post office was here in Bangkok, where we picked up her US visa. We picked up her passport, and in it was a 10-year US visa that is not simple to get when you are a Filipina. You can't just like walk up to the U.S. Embassy and say, hi, how's it going? I would like to be able to come in and out of your country for the next 10 years based on what I tell you is apparently true today, and I'm going to come in and out every 6 months. And in fact, once I come in, you basically aren't going to hold me accountable, and I'm just supposed to leave after 6 months out of my goodwill. But you don't care where I stay. I can put down an address. You're not going to check it. But basically, we're going to give you this 10-year visa to come in the United States. You don't buy that at Costco. You don't buy that at Big C in the Philippines. So that was a big deal. So this is a big deal too. Joseph says, do you know of a place where I can go to do my 14-day quarantine in Bangkok? Okay, so at the end of the day, if you were to come today, meaning that you had a work permit, business visa, and you were able to get in, or you were a diplomat, then they're pretty much going to tell you where to go. And at least what I know as of today, and it could be already said in the comments in much better detail and more accurate, is that you're going to have to go to a place that is very expensive. And you're going to have to pay for it yourself. So I don't know exactly where that is. But do this. If you're serious about it and you're like, look, dude, I'm coming this weekend. I've got a diplomatic passport, or I was working there, or I was able to basically, or I have a B visa, and it turns out I was going to work for this company over the summer anyway. And so they actually, even though I'm not there, they just went through the process and they just got me a work permit so I can get in today anyway. Integrity Legal. Reach out to Ben at Integrity Legal and say, okay, so like I've got all of this, I've got all of the check boxes. I've got all that I need to come in today. Because again, if you're not doing it today, then when you can come in, the chances of you needing to quarantine for 14 days are probably 0. So I assume that you're asking based on, okay, look, that's really like the only impediment. I mean, the other stuff's gonna be a pain in the ass. I'm gonna have to get like a fit the fly certificate, and I'm gonna have to, you know, get checked for COVID and all that, and I'm gonna have to have $100,000 worth of insurance, which again, if you're a traveler, that's not really that difficult to get anyway. But I've got, you know, everything else. All I need to know, reach out to Benjamin Hart at Integrity Legal, and he will absolutely be able to give you an accurate answer. Rackman says, making university free produces no value for the students. Thank you. The university I worked at was way overpriced. It was ridiculously expensive, but there is a product for everybody. I bought this laptop because it cost $163, because it's for Gracie and I to basically use Chrome today, so that's fine. I'm also going to probably go buy a laptop that costs $1,600. Am I going to buy 10 of these? No, I'm going to buy one epic laptop. There are laptops that I can buy that are, well, my old MacBook Pro, those were over $3,000. So basically over 100,000 baht for a laptop. And that's overpaying by some people's paying one. Basically, at the University of San Diego, we sell $250,000 bachelor's degrees. It costs $250,000, basically all in, room, board, books, classes, to get a bachelor's degree from the University of San Diego. And we don't put a gun to anybody's head to go there. I think it's overpriced. I wouldn't pay that, but people do. Some of them are very, very wealthy parents. Some of them are kids that are willing to adopt the belief that the piece of paper that they get when they leave the University of San Diego is totally worth that amount of money. We also have a law school. Some of the students that come there, they believe that the piece of paper they get that says they went to law school there, they have their JD, they have now matriculated, and it cost them $100,000 or whatever it cost. That was worth it. I think it's overpriced. I went to San Diego State for my bachelor's, and at the time, of course, the world was cheaper. But you know, I was paying like maybe $3,000 a semester with everything. Not for my apartment too, but you know, just for room and board and that sort of thing. Sorry, for books and classes. But when I went to community college, which was $15 a credit, so one class was $45. One class at University of San Diego is $4,500. Same calculus class. You get the same amount of learning, you get the same amount of interaction with the professor, basically. You do get a TA at you don't get a TA, you get one-on-one with the professor at the University of San Diego. It is a different model, I get it. But at the end of the day, you leave and you're like, you know how to triple integrate something. You know how to basically calculate the area under a curve by learning the first year of calculus, and then you can go on to Calc 2, okay? And you get the same solution, basically. You leave with the same amount of knowledge, you've been presented with the same availability of excellence. And, but if it were free, I completely agree. I don't believe it would have any value. You'd be like, oh yeah, well I took calculus. It's like, if you don't know, you can actually basically go through all of the classes that are available at Stanford for an electrical engineering degree, or MIT. You can go through all of them. You can like literally sit in on it, you can do the work. I don't believe that you'll get graded. You might get graded though, but you won't get a degree. You can claim that you went there all day long, but the school will be like, you did not matriculate. You did not pay to come here. You did not prove to us that you were deserving of a scholarship. You just showed up online. Yeah, you may have learned it, and that's great. And there are probably companies that are like, well, I really don't care if you have the degree or not. But, you know, at the end of the day, you don't have a degree from Stanford. And if you were to say you have a degree from Stanford, you'd be lying, okay? And because Stanford is expensive. It's also one of the highest quality universities in the world. And world-class solutions come out of Stanford. Google came out of Stanford. If there was no Stanford, there'd be no Google, okay? And so, and Google is the whole world. And so I agree, man. If they charge nothing for it, it's just gonna diminish the value of it. If Harvard University is free, forget it. There's got to be a mountaintop. There's got to be a carrot. There's got to be something. I completely agree. I believe and live by what The Rock said. Be the hardest worker in the room. Ha ha ha. Very good. Rackman T, I understand what you're saying, but there are a lot of people that would benefit greatly from having access to higher education that can't afford it. And I can tell you right now that like higher education isn't necessarily expensive. I mean, you can go to community college in California And it's not expensive at all. I went to San Diego State University and I got a bachelor's degree for a very nominal amount of money. So it is totally available. And you can get an online degree. Not University of Phoenix. University of Phoenix is a ripoff. But you can get online degrees for sure, and you can get a bachelor's. They're absolutely accredited, not necessarily in electrical engineering, but you can do that. You can do it for less money. Joseph, I love that, dude. That is so cool. The 2 thumbs down, go paint your... I love it. Joseph says, I will be there in September. Dude, I'm stoked. And I think September's going to be a really sweet spot, because I think like July, it'll be like, yeah, you can kind of go there, but it's going to be a pain in the ass. August, it's going to be like, okay, well, people are kind of starting to travel, and they're going to start testing these people, and you may not be able to go to like certain areas, or you may not be able to go to a red light district and have the experience that you had in Pattaya like 5 years ago or whatever, but you can definitely go to the beach. You can go to Prachuap Curry Connor, you can go to Phuket, you can hang out with Rob at Kamala, you can go to Mike, you can hang out in Bangkok with Mike at the coffee shop, but it won't be everything. But then by September, it'll be like, you know what, it's pretty much back to normal in the sense that you're going to get monitored in a different way, and you may have to like when I leave here, I'll put a mask on to basically walk down a soy where there will be effectively no people. The only people passing me will be doing so at 35 kilometers an hour on a motorbike. But they'll also be wearing a mask underneath their helmet, and they'll be doing that. So that'll be a social norm that is okay. But when I'm inside here and I'm by myself, and there's a potential that I'm going to raise something to my mouth and need to ingest something, then taking off my mask and sitting here as I am right now, talking into this black thing, is totally appropriate. Thank God, because otherwise I would be really weird and people would think I would be psycho. Rackman says, I went to CPSU SLO. So let's see. California Poly State University, San Luis Obispo. I am so good with the 3-letter abbreviation, dude. I nailed it. $35 a week. Couldn't afford an apartment. I bought a single-wide mobile home, sold it 5 years later for twice the money. Dude, you're the guys I hire. And I'm not saying you wouldn't be worthy of hiring me. I would work for you too because of that attitude. But I'm also saying I hire guys like you because you will work, because the integrity that you have, the follow through that you showed, that's another thing. I mean, I know it's a checkbox, but I got to tell you, a lot of people will be like, well, I don't have a bachelor's degree, I don't have the piece of paper, so I can't apply and I can't get this job. And there's a part of me that says, it's a pretty valid argument, because you can get an associate's degree, and that is a 2-year commitment, and I get that. But like going through the 4 years of not going on dates and having to sacrifice and really needing the money, but not being able to work that 3rd shift because you're like, dude, if I don't study tonight, like I'm not going to at least get a B in that class. And I don't do C's. Yeah, I can pass the class and I can get a degree with a C, but I don't want a C. I'm not a C guy. I'm a B- or above guy. I'm a B+ guy. For me, when I'm in college, when I'm in grad school, I am an A guy. I got an A- in my first class, and I'm like, that is never happening again. What the hell happened there? Was I asleep? And I got an A in every single class after that, because I made a commitment to myself that the amount of attention units, which is probably during that time I read that book and learned that phrase, statement, colloquialism, I was going to do whatever it took to get A's. And I got to tell you, it didn't take like killing myself to get an A in a bachelor or in a Master of Science in Executive Leadership. It was an executive MBA. It took some time, it took some commitment, and I didn't do other things. Like literally my New Year's Eve party that I went to one year, I studied, and I told my buddy, I said, look, I got to study. You call me at like about 11 o'clock. I will get there at like 11:25, 11:30. We will celebrate the new year, and then I'll leave about 12:15, and I'll come back home and I'll do my homework. Okay, so that was how I committed. So doing that means you really did it. And to learn that you basically said, I don't care what this costs, $35 a week, $350 a week, $3,500 a week, whatever the number was. The point is that I assume that you sacrificed to do that because it was more important for you to make yourself freaking spectacular than it was to potentially go out and indulge in playing pool or getting drunk or hanging out. And maybe you did that along the way. I certainly did, but the point is that like, no, yeah, I can do it, but I didn't, but yeah, the guys would be like, dude, you want to go out tonight? Well, yeah, I want to go out tonight, but I got a friggin' biology exam tomorrow. I got a chemistry exam tomorrow. I got a physics exam tomorrow. I got a calculus exam tomorrow. And if I don't obsess about this calculus thing for the next 15 hours, then on hour 16, when the exam starts, I'm gonna get like a B. I don't get B's, I get A's. I either do it or I'm not gonna do it at all. Or I'm like, I could get a D in this class, dude. I gotta get a B. I gotta get a B. I'm gonna bust my ass. That's what B stands for, busting your ass. And, you know, so those are the commitments you make. So when I see that checkbox that you have a 4-year degree, it's like, I know what that takes. And if I interview you and we start talking about, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you're like, well, basically I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, yacht club this, and, you know, but the only reason I went to this university is because my dad was on the board and he paid for it. You know, I didn't really hang out, you know, but at the end of the day, I really wouldn't mind working here as long as you pay me like $135,000. And I'm not joking. I have literally had I've had guys come in my office in flip-flops and put their feet up on my table, on my desk, and say, well, you know, yeah, I worked at AT&T and I worked for this guy and I did this and I did this and I whatever. I said, that's congratulations then. There's absolutely no need for you to apply for a job here. You get the hell out of here. You have no respect for anything, which means you don't have any respect for yourself, which means you effectively have no talent. You're not going to last 5 seconds on my team. Are you kidding me? My guys will kick you off the pool table faster than I can say, get out of my office. So guess what? Get out of my office. I've had guys that actually thought they were pretty hot shit show up 15 minutes late for a 1-hour job interview. Oh, I couldn't find parking. It was raining out, whatever. I did this, blah, 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 blah. You don't have a phone? This is IT, dude. You could have texted me. You could have done whatever. I said, you had a 1-hour job interview, and you showed up 15 minutes late. Explain to me what expectation I can have that you are going to do anything but 75% of whatever I ask you to do from this day forward. This is your day. This is your first date, dude. This is your time to blow me away and impress me, and you're 15 minutes late. Go home. I'm not wasting the next 45 minutes of my time or my staff's time. I got no use for you. But if you call me at 1 minute before and say, Mike, I'm going to be late because of this, well, then we have an adult discussion, and I'm like, okay. You know, and it can be some lie or some excuse or whatever, but at the end of the day, you communicate it to me, and I would submit to you, you learn how to do that partially by going and getting a bachelor's degree. You learn how to do life at that age in that 4-year, 5-year. Engineering is a 5-year program. Took me 6 because I had a little bit of a mild drinking obsession in the middle of it that I had to tailor. And so, you know, but it's like I learned how to grow up. I learned how to be responsible. I learned how to be an adult. And most people do that. Very few people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they just got the degree. That's rare. But most guys are like Rackman. Actually, most guys are not like Rackman. Most guys are not as good as Rackman. Actually, he's pretty awesome. Guys, see you tomorrow. Good to see you, Todd. Thanks for coming by. And Rackman, thank you for welcoming him back to wherever he came from. That's cool. Stuck says, depends on what state you're in. Some states community college is very reasonable. In some states, the prices are ridiculous. I agree. And you can always go to a different state to go to school. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to get affordable school in your state. I'm not debating it. A's in grad school. Check. Absolutely, Caesar. Because, dude, I got to tell you, when I went to grad school, even my bachelor's degree, because I mean, let's face it, guys, in the middle of my bachelor's degree, I was drinking, I was using, I was basically hitting rock bottom, but I was still going to class because I was like, if I don't get a bachelor's degree, I mean, what's the classic thing? If I don't get a bachelor's degree, I'm only going to be able to work at McDonald's, right? And I know plenty of guys that actually work at McDonald's, like the CFO of McDonald's, he's doing just fine, okay? So I know what people mean by that. I'm going to be a cashier somewhere where I'm making minimum wage, doing basically the same repetitive task over and over again, and it's going to kill me with boredom. But the point is that like there was a desperation in getting my bachelor's degree. If I don't get my bachelor's degree, I will never be able to do anything. So there was a desperation. But thank God, because I got through it. And I'm glad I didn't like say, well, I'm just gonna, because that's the joke in electrical engineering is that, and we write it as a mathematical equation. I'm not going to go into it, but basically what it says is that as your GPA goes to 0, then basically your degree goes from Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering to Bachelor of Arts in business. And I'm not saying that's a bad degree. It's just a joke that us stuck-up engineers say, because basically you're the guys getting all the girls anyway, because we're engineers, and so we're pissed. And so that's just our reaction to it. But in any case, the bottom line is that I'm really glad I stuck it out, I toughed it out, and I made the sacrifices, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. Not electronic engineering, not compute, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, I have like a minor in computer science, which at the time was not really as sophisticated as it would be today. But nonetheless, I was really into that. And I know that it takes some effort for sure. Rutgers College, my first 2 years, I lived in a van and worked 2 jobs. Joseph, you're absolutely, and that is commitment, and I'm honored that you guys are honoring him. Joseph Pinto sounds more like my experience in working 30 plus hours a week to pay for college. Triple X, baby. Triple X. I paid my own way. Good for you guys. That's friggin' spectacular. That's awesome. Stoked on that, man. Totally stoked on that. Where are we at? We're at 3 hours and 27 minutes. We got 19 people hanging out at the Cool Kids table. And we got 37 likes, 37 thumbs up. I really appreciate that. My battery is on. Let's see if you can. You see that? That's 1 bar. That's on 1 bar. So that basically means I don't have a whole lot of power. And rather than repeat again what I did yesterday and have in the past, to no fault of my own, really, ending the broadcast when I don't want to end it, I'm going to end the broadcast now when I want to end it. And I'm going to do it with as best to my ability, huge thank you to you guys for coming by. I had a really great time today. I had a really good discussion. I'm in an environment that I like a lot, and not the least of which is here with you guys. I want to thank the guys so much for the $7.60 super chat. I know that it was converted from Aussie dollars, but that's what I can see right now, and I actually don't remember the exact amounts. But that's not important, really. The amount isn't the important thing to me. The important thing to me is that you came here, and I assume that you departed with your money because you believe that coming here adds value. And whether that's because of me or simply because I throw the phone on and everyone else in the super chat is who you really want to talk to, awesome. If I threw the platform up there and allowed you to, come and walk away, maybe feeling a little bit better than you did when you came here, I'm honored, because I got to tell you right now, I am feeling a million times better when I got here. And when I got here, I was feeling friggin' awesome. So thank you guys for allowing me to basically indulge in my awesome sauce like I did. Thank you guys for keeping me sane. Thank you for giving me the energy to go give the energy to somebody else. And with that said, I want to say the forefront of computing, yeah, it was kind of time. Great time. Thank you so much, Captain Stuck. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Where will you be in 5 years? Yeah, I love that question. The short answer that I always gave is in your job, because I'm either going to push you up in the organization or I'm going to kick you out because I'm much better than you are. I wouldn't say it that way, but the short answer is in your job, boss. It's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com saying I hope you're living the dream, because again, I think it takes such less energy to put deposits into the self-esteem account, and it takes so much difficulty and frustration and negative energy to make withdrawals from the self-esteem account. Do not do it. Find an accountability partner, give them the permission to tell you to stop screwing around when you keep making these damn withdrawals from your self-esteem account, and make deposits in the self-esteem account, because that's why, if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong. So make deposits into your self-esteem account. I love you guys. Talk to you soon. Ciao.